Town. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News, and they're still searching the tornado debris in Iowa.
Multiple deaths, injuries, and widespread destruction from tornadoes that ripped through Iowa. One of the hardest hit towns, Greenfield, a community of about 2,000, is southwest of Des Moines, where numerous homes and structures were flattened.
It's just gut-wrenching. It is just horrific. It's hard to describe until you can actually see it, the devastation.
Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds, law enforcement, and EMS resources from across the state on scene for continued search and rescue. The number of victims not yet fully released amid disaster emergency declarations for 15 Iowa counties.
Fox's Jeff Manasso, thousands more without power in Illinois and Wisconsin. The same system threatening more storms today from Texas to New England. Any content generated by artificial intelligence in political ads would have to be disclosed under a proposal just announced by the chair of the Federal Communications Commission, asking colleagues to advance a rule that mandates disclosing AI content for both candidate and issue ads on radio and TV. It would not prohibit AI-generated content. President Biden is wiping out more debt for people with student loans.
It will relieve student loan debt for around 160,000 borrowers, in addition to the millions who have already had their debt forgiven under this administration. The beneficiaries this time around, the White House says, are public service workers. So think teachers, nurses, people who work in law enforcement.
Fox Business's Grady Trimble. It's only for those enrolled in the SAVE plan, which offers forgiveness after at least 10 years, depending on the loan amount. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak just calling for new elections, setting July 4th as the date for a national election, determining who governs the UK. America is listening to Fox News.
You can host the best backyard barbecue when you find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. Call 800-822-1716. 800-822-1716.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Well, how's this for a temperature flip? 91 yesterday, 79 for the high today. The northwest wind, partly sunny skies. Still a chance of a pop-up thunderstorm, but a lot of dry time. Tonight, scattered showers and thunderstorms. 63 Thursday, partly to mostly sunny skies. Going to keep a chance of a spot storm, but a lot of dry time on Thursday. 82 degrees for the high. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This is a consumer alert to all U.S. taxpayers who owe the IRS back taxes or have unfiled tax returns. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, you can now take advantage of active programs that provide relief to struggling taxpayers and may reduce or eliminate what you owe if you qualify. Even if you are facing liens, levies, audits, wage garnishment, or already in a payment plan, call the Easy Tax Relief Helpline now to check what savings you may qualify for at 800-544-1553. You may qualify to reduce up to 99% of what you owe or for other special programs. Once qualified and enrolled, you can rest assured that your assets are protected and all collection efforts will be stopped. Billions of dollars in savings are available through these relief programs for struggling taxpayers, but you must call to see if you qualify. To see what savings you qualify for, call 800-544-1553. 800-544-1553. That's 800-544-1553.
Experience the beauty of custom-crafted windows that enhance your home's aesthetics and energy efficiency. Look no further than Infinity from Marvin, proudly brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. Why choose Infinity? These windows are not just strong, they're 8 times stronger than vinyl, providing unmatched security for your home. Plus, with Lakeside's expert installation, you're guaranteed precision and perfection. Visit our showroom or call Lakeside Renovation and Design today. Elevate your home with Infinity from Marvin, where strength meets style.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Nos vamos a divertir mucho.
And that means we're going to have a lot of fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you. During Renewal by Anderson's massive markdown sale, save hundreds on every window and patio door. With 0 payments and 0 interest for 18 months. Call by May 31st, 314-720-9200.
The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Hey, welcome to the Annie Fry Show, which we're going to call the Manny Fry Show today. I'm Ryan Wiggins, filling in for Annie Fry just for one day, if you're curious. She's not sick. She's just out doing some kid graduation stuff today, and we knew that this was coming.
Just some kids.
Just some kid graduation stuff, so it's not as if she's going to be out for like a long period of time.
I mean, this is like one of those big deals, though. This is a milestone.
Well, sure. I'm just saying, as far as the show is concerned, you don't have to worry that she's not going to be gone for long.
Right. And she was actually kind of worried about not being here. She's like, do you think it'd be a big deal? And I was like, no, I think this is something that you absolutely should do. And I think that the listeners would agree.
Yeah. So there we are. We have some information for you today regarding the economy with Johnathan Hoenig coming up next in the next segment. That is going to be interesting conversation because I think what we're going to lead with is what Joe Biden is doing to try to manipulate gas prices. And, you know, how that plays out, why they do it right before big holidays like this, which seems to be a trend. We'll talk about that. But in the meantime,
my grandfather would tell me when I walked out the door in North Washington Avenue in Scranton.
That was just the first clip that I wanted to open the show with today because I have an article here called 7 Theories for Why Biden is Losing. Now, this comes via Real Clear Politics, but it's from like ultimately some sort of New York magazine called DNY something. And the person writing the article, you'll see where their slant is, okay? Because it starts with, it's not Joe Biden's poll numbers that worry me exactly. So they're a Joe Biden supporter. It's the denial of what's behind them. Among likely voters, Biden is trailing Donald Trump by 1 point in Wisconsin and 3 points in Pennsylvania. He's ahead by a point in Michigan. Sweeping those 3 states is one route to re-election, and they're within reach. Still, Biden is losing to Trump. This is a Biden supporter saying this. His path is narrowing. In 2020, Biden didn't just win Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. He also won Arizona, Georgia, and Nevada. Now, he's behind in those states by 6 points, 9 points, and 13 points in the latest Times Siena poll. Have those states turned red? No. That is the same poll that finds Democrats leading in the Arizona and Nevada Senate races. Let's pause right there and acknowledge that, yes, that's true. The path to winning the Senate is a little bit harder than it should be for Republicans, according to the polls. It's a good map that's coming up for Republicans this year. But the polling is not suggesting that it's going to be a cakewalk. But with Donald Trump, the polling is way in his favor, much more than even Republicans running for Senate. So what's going on? The author continues, Biden, in other words, is continuing to run like a candidate who is winning rather than one who is losing. It's kind of a big acknowledgement. He and the Democrats need a theory of why he's trailing in the polls and what to do about it. Here are the most obvious answers. So this is what we're digging into here right at the top of the show, is acknowledging that right now, Joe Biden seems to be losing this race. Are we okay with that premise?
Yeah, I think that's a solid premise right now.
Good, because I'm going to continue with that premise and read you all the reasons why this author, who is a political analyst, is saying Biden is losing, and see if we agree. The first one is the polls are wrong. This appears to be, as he says here, this appears to be Biden's view that the polling data has been wrong all along. That's a quote from Biden to CNN last week. Axios reports that polling denial is pervasive in Biden's campaign. My question for you, is this true? Is the polling that off, Brad? You don't trust polling, so...
I don't. Well, I think polling is persuasive, not predictive, but I don't think that Biden can honestly say that the polls are off or wrong.
There are just too many of them, right?
There's too many of them, and even the ones that are most favorable to him are still within the margin of error.
And this has been his view. The author is right. He keeps saying, I don't believe those polls. And if you catch him off guard, he's walking to the helicopter or something, he'll say it. So when he's off script, he'll say, don't listen to that. I don't believe that. The polls are always wrong. But here's the thing that even this person acknowledges. The first is that it's false. Pundits predicted a red wave in 2022. Mm-hmm. The polls showed, though, that Republicans were not going to get a red wave, and they were right. So in 2022, for all of the predictions that were going on, the polling was actually closer in 2022 than in any cycle since apparently 1998. So if you're saying, hey, that was an example of everything being right, and it's the most recent one, then you'd have to say that going into this election, the polls seem to be favoring Donald Trump. What did Joe Biden have to say about this when we asked him whether the polling data was off?
My name's Joe Biden. I work for Kamala Harris. I asked her to be my vice president because I knew I needed somebody smarter than me.
Okay. Well, it's not totally relevant, but I guess it is an answer. The second reason is that it's the media's fault. This author says that this is one of the things that the Biden camp could be saying. As a member of the media, I've been hearing this one more often. Biden made the case himself at the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Biden's making the case that the media
is off. They're not framing everything right for him. I kid you not. Here, I'll read the quote. Biden said at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, I'm sincerely not asking you to take sides. Okay, thank you.
But you kind of are.
But asking you, all friendly people basically in the room, to him, asking you to rise up to the seriousness of the moment, move past the horse race numbers and the gotcha moments and the distractions and the sideshows that have come to dominate and sensationalize our politics and focus on what's actually at stake. That last phrase being key. Hey, remember whose side you're on. Focus on what's actually at stake.
Hey, you want to talk about an ungrateful guy?
No kidding.
This media is doing everything they can to prop him up.
So you would disagree that the media is the problem for him?
Yeah, 1,000%. It's reality that's the problem for him.
Here's what he had to say.
The reason to do this is simple. Electric charging stations have to be as easy to find as a gas station. And that's what this will be. You're not going to have to worry about it taking off, and you're not going to be able to make it all across the country without having to figure something else out.
I don't know. Didn't really seem relevant there, Mr. President, but I guess it is an answer once again. Number 3, it is a bad time to be an incumbent. So the problem is that he's the incumbent, Brad. And this author says, as my colleague Paul Krugman notes, By the way, Paul Krugman, personally, not a huge fan.
So is this writer saying this now?
The writer's saying, as my colleague notes, Biden is more popular than the leaders even of peer countries like Canada and Britain. So he's saying that it may just be a bad time to be an incumbent.
Yeah, but why? Let's get to the why. When it's a bad time to be an incumbent is whenever the incumbent is a bad leader. Whenever their performance is bad, then it's bad to be the one that's responsible for whatever is going on in the country.
Brad, you may be hitting on something. Joe Biden responds.
Imagine what we can do next. 4 more years. Pause. 4 more years.
By the way,
that never gets old.
All these clips that I'm playing this isn't the greatest hits of Joe Biden.
Well, it kind of is.
This is the last 30 days. This isn't like I'm pulling stuff from when he was a senator, vice president, even during his whole presidency.
Not in that list is True International to Pressure.
Oh, yeah. There's all kinds of corn pop that we glossed over here. This is just the last 4 weeks that we're pulling. Number 4, voters are angry. And just again, these are reasons why Joe Biden may be losing is what we're going through. Voters are angry about rising prices and high interest rates. In the Times Siena poll, 21% of voters say the economy will drive their vote, and a number say inflation is their top issue. Prices are the most common explanation for Biden's troubles. But, he says, Democrats performed and polled well in 2022 when the economy was in worse shape, he says, than it is now. We'll talk about the economy next with Johnathan Hoenig, so stick around for that. But what do you think about this, Brad, that the reason that people are turning on Biden is the perceived negative economy, even though they didn't turn on him in 2022.
No, the economy is not better. It's still bad, and it's not getting better. It's not getting better. So in 2022, 2021, people are still ready to give him the benefit of the doubt of the pandemic and whatever the excuses that he came up with. I mean, he had a plethora of excuses, from Republicans to whatever. But it hasn't gotten any better. The stuff that he was doing, the Inflation Reduction Act, didn't reduce inflation. It actually made it worse. Stuff like that has continued to put pressure on people, and now people are like, no, you ain't the guy. This ain't right. It isn't getting better. My paycheck still doesn't go far enough. I feel like I should be making more money by now, and I'm not. Everything is still bad, and the pandemic is long gone.
I would add that I believe in 2022, voters did not connect a bad economy or inflation directly to Democrats because Joe Biden wasn't on the ticket in 22.
It's true.
I do believe that they're connecting it to him now in 2024, and they weren't in 22. Joe Biden had this to say.
She's not only the only person receiving this medal. She is a it's not the reason she's getting it, it's because she's from Delaware, although I keep looking at her.
It's not really related to the economy there, Joe, but I guess, it's a response. Number 5, voters think Biden is too liberal. The Biden administration is worried about shoring up its left flank too much, particularly since the war in Gaza started. Agree?
Yeah, he is too liberal.
I agree with that one, too. Yeah, that's one that I think you could say they are definitely pandering to the far corners of the party in a moment when they should be moving to the middle.
I
think, strategically.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this to you off air, but Joe Biden is like this weird, like traditional, I'm Scranton Joe, old man, old school Democrat man. And that's the talk that he talks. And then, like he says with Israel, don't look at what I say, look at what I do. And then when you look at what he does, it's like very progressive, left-leaning stuff that people aren't ready for.
And people are seeing what he's doing more than what he's saying because he's not really great at saying it. Here's what he had to say.
And when I was vice president, things were kind of bad during the pandemic. And what happened was Barack said to me, go to Detroit and help fix it. Well, poor mayor, he spent more time with me than he ever thought he was going to have to. God love you.
What? He was vice president during the pandemic?
That's what he said.
This one's making the rounds if you've heard it already. Sorry, we're just catching up. But this is all stuff, again, within the last 30 days that he said. Number 6, we'll get through these real quick here, and we'll get to Johnathan Hoenig in just a minute. Democrats need to redefine Trump. Biden is not running against God, as Bernie Sanders put it. He's running against Donald Trump. So they haven't done a good enough job of defining Trump as a bad guy, Brad.
What else could they define him as? Like, what is left to say about him? I've heard him called everything. Like, the worst characters in history, he's been called.
Here's Joe Biden.
And by the way, I say to every young man thinking of getting married, marrying a family with 5 or more daughters. I did. My wife's the oldest of 5 sisters. You know why? One of them will always love you. Not the same one. One of them will always be on your side. That's the biggest advantage of marrying into 5 daughters.
Okay.
What?
And I saved the best for last, and so did they. And you maybe see where we're going here. You know, I've been saying, here they're saying this, but here's what Joe Biden has to say. There's a point to all this. Number 7 is the last one on the list. Voters think Biden is too old. This is the one that worries me the most, the author says. Polls routinely find that majorities of as much as 70 to 80% think Biden is too old to be president. I think we finally got to the point. And I hate to say that that is really what may decide this election, because everything in me wants people to vote on policy. I desperately wish that this was a referendum on 2 presidents that we've both seen. Tulsi Gabbard said it the other day when Annie was interviewing her. And you can get that on the podcast if you missed that interview. That this is one of the only elections that we've ever seen that you actually have a record of 4 years and 4 years to compare. And my desperate hope is that voters are going to do that. And it's not just the age thing that's going to decide this election. Because let's say it's not Joe Biden running. Let's say it's somebody else. I would hope that the policy carries the day.
Well, and the thing about it is, too, things aren't bad in the country right now. They're not bad in the country because Joe Biden's old.
Correct.
They're bad because of the policy and the policymakers within the Biden administration. I don't know where you are at or how much policy Joe Biden's making. I'm at the spot where not a lot is my answer. So whenever you look at this, it's not you couldn't replace Joe Biden with a younger person and then say, okay, everything would be working out better. No, the same policies would be in place. The same results would still be happening. It would just have a polished politician at the helm.
That's exactly
You've
right.
got to look at the policies.
That's exactly right. But this is the stuff that sticks.
Are you ready to choose freedom over democracy? Because that's America.
Again, all this stuff is the last 30 days. So this is the stuff that people remember, and it really could cost Democrats at the election. I just almost mourn the fact that we've gotten to get to this point where you have to have somebody who's so incapable of going out and sharing bad messaging. Like, they really have nothing even to run on. But you have a leader who is not even able to spin that bad messaging into something like good ones can.
And his messaging is so bad that even the media can't spin.
And they're trying.
Oh, they're trying.
And they are trying. So that's where we're at in America today. It is personality. These things absolutely do matter. My hope is, though, that we're just getting to a point where we actually have people going, you know what? Maybe the policies of this administration have cost me money. Maybe the border issues, the crime issues, maybe those things do matter. And when you step on the gas pedal on them like they have, you're going to see that under a microscope much more like we have in the last 4 years than we did under previous Democrat presidents. This is Ryan Wiggins filling in for Annie Fry today. We're going to talk to Johnathan Hoenig next. He is an investment counselor. He is an author. Brad's trying to push me out. I won't let him. I got to tease Johnathan Hoenig coming up next on The Annie Fry Show.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Hey, have you called Stewie yet? We had Stewie on the air earlier this week to talk about mortgage rates and the housing market right now. It's pretty poppin', but that's because inventory is low. So if you've been thinking about purchasing a house and you're looking at the pricing of homes and you're thinking the interest rates are higher than you've heard them be, I want to encourage you to start a conversation with Stewart's American Mortgage. You can ask him about the bagel loan where you're going to pay zero in closing costs. They don't exist. He does not charge you those closing costs, takes care of all of it for you. When you reach out to 314-324-4440, that's 314-324-4440, and you talk to Stewie about a bagel loan, he's going to explain the current situation with the market right now, what he's seen with so many of his clients and customers, especially here from the Annie Fry Show and 97.1, what they're doing to win in the market that is pretty hot right now. Don't be left behind and don't miss out on the house that you're looking to make your dream home. 314-324-4440, 314-324-4440. Google the Bagel Loan for more information, and MLS number 226715.
Gain peace of mind that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's Flooring Outlet. They give all their clients attentive personal service, even bring toys for the kids of the household. It's a family-owned and operated business for 25-plus years. They make sure you make the right choice for your home. So if you have carpets or hard floors, you're going to be happy for years to come. 3 convenient locations in St. Charles County, 116 Main Street, in Old Town St. Peters at Mid-Rivers and Highway 70, in West County on Olive, and the store in Darden Prairie. Michael's Flooring Outlet, igotfloor.com.
When you have Rhino Shield on your house, it does a couple of things for you. It beautifies the house, and it protects it from the harshest elements. And boy, do we see those here in the greater St. Louis area. You get instant curb appeal. It will stick to anything. Rhino Shield is the answer, no matter whether you're painting a home or a church or a business or a condo, because it's 100% waterproof. It takes care of the outdoor maintenance on whatever is on the outside of your home. The brick, the block, aluminum, steel, stucco. They can put this on with the 2 to 3 coat process. They're there about a week, and they do a great job. A lot of businesses have done it in the area. Several Firestones have done that. Vantage Credit Union over the years. Harlan Packaging down in DeSoto. Call Darren today and schedule your free estimate. 877-25-RHINO. Easy to remember phone number. Or go online today at 877-25-RHINO.com.
Are you ready to smell better naked? I'm Dr. Shannon Klingman, the OBGYN creator of Lumi, the whole body deodorant that's clinically proven to control odor for 72 hours on pits, feet, privates, and beyond. It's pH optimized to safely and effectively control odor anywhere you have it, but wish you didn't. Plus, it's proven to work better than a shower with soap alone. Whether you shower twice a day or 3 times a week, Lumi works better. And who doesn't want zero body odor? With over 200,000 5-star reviews, I'm so sure you're going to love it, or you can return it for free.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code 500 and get 15% off your first purchase with code 500, like the Lumi Starter Pack, Acidified Body Wash, or new Lumi Plus Sweat Control. That's LUME Deodorant.com, code 500 for 15% off your first purchase. Love it or return it for free. That's LUME Deodorant.com, code 500 to save 15% today.
You've listened to 97.1 FM Talk. You've heard of Doug Voss of Voss Financial and Safe Money Radio, as he has been a staple as the financial expert on the station for many years. You can hear him on Safe Money Radio several times a weekend right here on 97.1 FM Talk. And you can talk to Doug Voss directly. Here's his number. Call Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That is 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through D.H. Hill Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
We're here to help you get registered to vote, whether you're in Missouri or Illinois. Democracy 2024 on 97.1 FM Talk. If you need help getting registered, go to 971talk.com/vote. You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Man, Joe Biden knows how to handle an economy. After all, inflation was at 9% when he came into office.
Well, so, but I mean, no president's had the run we've had in terms of creating jobs and bringing down inflation. It was 9% when I came to office. 9%. But
it's incredible. He didn't cause this, but he inherited it, and he's done so much to get us back on track. Johnathan Hoenig is an economic advisor, investment counselor. He is from capitalistpig.com. Jonathan, thanks for being here.
Hey, Ron, great to be with you. And look, inflation, it is hurting everyday Americans. And yes, it's come down, but it's still present. And, you know, I mean, I manage money for people. You got a stat out this week, 20% of people are doubting whether they'll ever be able to save up enough money to retire. And 6 in 10 has said that their expectations of when to be able to retire have changed significantly because of all the inflation that continues. So this is a problem. At first they told us it was transitory. That was, 3-4 years ago. It hasn't gone away. In fact, it's gotten worse.
I'm glad you brought that up because I think we forget to mention that the White House was telling us that this was just temporary. Transitory was the word. That's a nice economic word to make us forget that it means just temporary. But you mentioned, Jonathan, that more than 6 in 10 investors said their expectations for retirement have changed significantly in the last 5 years. So that's something. The last 5 years has been an economic whirlwind. Is this something new in America that retirees are saying, maybe I can't?
Well, that's what's so sad about inflation, Ryan, is that it hurts old people on a fixed income truly more than anyone. And you hear story about the people who finally have been able to save up, $500,000, maybe even $1 million, and then they're realizing that they ain't what it used to be. I mean, grocery prices up just 20% in the last year. Energy prices 38%, shelter prices up 20%. So these are not normal moves, 2, 3, 4% a year. So what's ironic is that the White House is running on a good economy. They're running on economic strength, yet you've got 65% of U.S. households saying that inflation made their finances significantly worse in 2023. So maybe we haven't been declared a recession just yet, but Americans are hurting. They're further into debt, and they're struggling to get by.
Yeah, Jonathan, it seems like a strategic error to me that they're running on the message that, no, what you're experiencing isn't real. You have to trust our numbers. Well, your numbers are fine. I'd love to have great numbers across the board. But when Americans are feeling it, this isn't war abroad. That's something that we all have opinions on. But this is something that when we talk about inflation, every single person knows and can picture what that means for them.
Yeah, in fact, 1 in 6 Americans, Ryan, said that they can't pay their monthly bills in full. This is significant. And look, I'm always bullish on America. I would never bet against this country, basically, regardless of who's in the presidency. I think the American spirit is still alive. I think you have to be very cautious now moving into 2024 and 2025. I mean, the inflation took a while to create, and it's going to take a while to dissipate. And unfortunately, President Biden, he announced just this week he's releasing some oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Between doing that and paying people for their student loans, to me it seems like pretty much buying votes, but it's not going to have an impact long term, Ryan. I mean, what needs to happen is the spending. The debt now is so massive that we're spending more on the interest on the debt than we are on national security. That's never happened before. So that's my real worry, is there is a spending and debt ticking time bomb that President Biden, it's not that he just hasn't addressed it, he's avoided it altogether.
And they've continued to spend more. Yeah, in the face of massive inflation, they've passed the Inflation Reduction Act, which was a spending bill. I mean, this stuff's rather amazing to watch, but, they've gotten away with it thus far. We'll see what happens in November. Jonathan, today we were going to ask a poll question that had to do with the economy. We decided to do kind of a fun one instead. And so we can talk about whether you wear a necktie or not in the future, because that's today's poll. Our necktie is still necessary. But the poll question that we were kicking around was, and it was hard to word, which is why we didn't do it, is Trump, is a possible Trump presidency going to turn this issue around? Can a president even take on an issue like inflation and fix it? And if so, how fast?
Well, I look back at history, Ryan. I mean, Gerald Ford and early in Jimmy Carter's presidency, they thought they had inflation licked. Interest rates in 1975 to 1976, they came down from about 8% to 6%. And, there was a sense that we got this fixed. But Carter kept spending, increased spending, and just 3 or 4 years later, interest rates were and inflation were north of 10%. It was only late in his presidency when he did what he needed to do to actually bring inflation in line, massive reduction in spending and deregulation. Carter doesn't get a lot of love, but, Ryan, keep in mind, we have everything from low-cost stock commissions to low-cost airfares, thanks to the deregulation that Jimmy Carter enacted in the late 1970s. And it wasn't that he wanted to, he had to, because the economy was just that bad. So, it's never a secret. An economy needs economic freedom. So the more we can reduce taxes, reduce regulation, encourage investment, and get this economy back on track.
Johnathan Hoenig is with us from capitalistpig.com. You see him on Fox News every now. I always get a kick out of when we look up and see somebody we know on Fox News. I do that same thing with you, Johnathan. When we talk about inflation, my hope is that we would ever see, and this is a rare thing, but I would hope that at some point we might even see deflation. Is that something that is possibility, or is that more like a pipe dream?
Well, what you really want, in my opinion, Ryan, is steady prices. Even think of, prices that you can depend on, that you can save, where the value of your savings is preserved over time. And, that's been leaking for years, but it's gotten much worse, as we've talked about in just the last couple of months. I think we could see lower prices. We're also likely to see ultimately wages just increase dramatically to make up for these prices. I don't think we're going to see hamburgers at $3.99 and $4.99 again. What worries me moving forward, Ryan, is some of the policies from not only President Biden, but President Trump. There's an interesting story out this week. Pete Peterson Institution, basically an outfit that really focuses on spending and lowering the size of government. They estimated that the new Trump trade war could cost people another $1,700 a year. And that was the case with the first tariffs. Now, Biden has also increased tariffs, and that's moving us in just the opposite direction. A tariff is a tax on everyday Americans. So, at a time when people are struggling literally just to pay their bills, an extra $1,700 a year in unnecessary tax is not a policy Democrats or Republicans should support.
So, Johnathan, what I'm hearing is, in your expert opinion, you're saying, hey, maybe we won't see deflation if we can just keep prices the same, but that I might be getting a huge raise soon. Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's the irony. Even in the late 70s to the early mid 80s, Ryan, it's not that we saw necessarily prices dramatically come down, but wages increased ultimately to meet those prices, but not without massively impacting the purchasing power of everyday Americans. Gerald Ford called inflation public enemy number one, and it really is a silent thief. You would never allow government to come into your house and steal 20% of your savings over a 2-year period of time, but that's what all of us have experienced. And I think it's why it's so important that this really truly become a focus number one for whoever the next president is, and on a local level as well. It's added up. It's why we've seen record number of hardship withdrawals, Ryan, from 401ks. People are having trouble paying the bills, so that debt is coming due, and the sooner government can get it in line, the sooner I think the better off we'll all be.
Johnathan, that's a great answer, but the answer I was looking for is yes, Ryan, you are in line for a big raise. You're doing a great job. You mentioned gas prices. That's at the top of the headlines today as I look across all the different websites and Fox News. Here's what CNN had to say about it.
So here's what's going on. We see $3.61 a gallon is the national average. The Biden administration announcing the release of 1 million barrels from this Northeast Emergency Reserve. We're talking about the Northeast Gasoline Supply Reserve. It was formed in 2014 after Superstorm Sandy 2 years before caused all kinds of chaos. It holds gas in New Jersey and in Maine, only about 1 million barrels of gas. It's never been used before.
Johnathan Hoenig, you said that releasing this gas from the strategic reserves, which they seem to do before big holidays pretty often. I'm not sure exactly why that is, whether it's to get us talking about it or they actually want to help Americans at the pump. But you're saying you don't think it's going to do much.
Well, look, I'm not a political expert, Ryan, but I always thought the Strategic Petroleum Reserve was like, to keep Air Force One in the air if there was a nuclear attack.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and it wasn't, it's a kind of massage for political purposes. Keep in mind what inflation is. Inflation is not the rise of gas prices or of individual food prices. It is a general rise in prices across the whole economy. So, why President Biden might want to score some political points by releasing, pushing down gas prices maybe 5 or 10 cents over a period of weeks or months, it's going to do nothing to impact the reason why we're seeing prices from everything from nickel to orange juice continue to make new all-time highs. And again, as I said, Brian, I think it gets worse before it gets better because we haven't even heard talk of cutting spending in D.C. It's nowhere on any legislators' radar these days. It's lone voices are talking about cutting spending. So, it took 10% interest rates to get Carter to have his, if you will, come to Jesus moment. And that set the stage for a great Reagan revival. So much of what Reagan benefited from, I have to say, was started under Jimmy Carter's administration. Carter held the line on spending. He actually fired a lot of government employees. Can you imagine Joe Biden doing that? It's not going to happen. So I think we're in for the long haul. and inflation is not coming down, my expectation, Ryan, is that in fact it heats up now towards the end of the year.
Ooh, I hate to hear that. Johnathan Hoenig, capitalisppig.com. Now, before you go, there's an interesting turn that we need to make here, and I'm blaming you because I don't really know how to make this turn well, but I got my hands on a book that you have just recently released called Can You Really Love a Dog? And I started reading it, and I'm really enjoying it. But as an investment counselor, you're an investment counselor, you're an economic guy. What made you choose to write a book that I kept waiting, is this going to be about investments? No, this is about love. This is about the nature of love.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate that. Yeah, the new book is called Can You Really Love a Dog? Leonard Peikoff and Ayn Rand on Pets. And look, why do we invest? Why do we save? To have more, digits in the bank? No, to enjoy life. And one of the things I know I enjoy and I love, and so do many of your listeners, are our pets, are our dogs. So it got me thinking, just beyond loving our animals, what's the philosophy behind that? We don't choose our family. We don't choose our parents or our children necessarily, but we choose our animals. It makes that love so special, so precious, and that's what I talk about in the new book, Can You Really Love a Dog? Leonard Peikoff and Ayn Rand on Pets, and it's available at Amazon.
Yeah, it's a really interesting book. I got to say, I was expecting when I saw a book from you come out that it was going to be something on, like deep economics, but this is like philosophical. Can you really love? I'm really enjoying it. So thanks
Thank you,
for.
Ryan.
Yeah, go ahead.
My pleasure. I've done a few on economics as well. And, if you're looking for a stock tip, all eyes will be on NVIDIA today. The stock's expected to make about a 9% move after the bell. It's going to be a huge move, so we'll be watching it, and I know getting full reports on your station as well.
Yeah, we were talking about it on the Mark Cox Morning Show today. That's been big economic news. Usually individual companies is not something that we talk about, but that NVIDIA news that's supposed to come out this afternoon is going to be pretty big. Johnathan Hoenig, thank you so much for your time and your book, Can You Really Love a Dog? Always appreciate you coming on.
Anytime. Thank you, Ryan. Be well.
This is Ryan Wiggins filling in for Annie Fry today. So coming up next, typically this is where we do Wiggins America. I have a feeling that it will still be kind of that segment since I'll be leading it. I just don't know whether we'll play the sounder or not. But I do have some information for you that's a little off the grid. It's some things that maybe you forgot about that you used to enjoy eating. Stick around for that. Brad's looking at me like, what? That was a terrible tease. I agree, but stick around anyway. It's the Annie Fry Show.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/free. Ramp.com/free. RAMP.com/free.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Mark Cox here. If you're planning your next outdoor project, I can save you some money right now, thanks to my friends at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. If you call them and mention my name, they'll give you 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project with Chesterfield Fence and Deck. It's that easy. 636-532-4054, or just go to chesterfieldfence.com. You're going to love working with this company. They've been under the same ownership since 1968. They take a lot of pride in what they do, and it's the sign you have the very best. They do wood fences, vinyl fences, same with decks. They can do a beautiful natural cedar deck, or they can use that Vecadec vinyl decking with no maintenance. They've even added a new color this year. It is pewter. It's a gorgeous gray color with a beautiful variation for that more natural look. Call Chesterfield Fence and Deck today, 636-532-4054 or chesterfieldfence.com.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
This is Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. Visit our Summerlin community in O'Fallon, Missouri, located at the corner of Double D and Summers Road, featuring our popular Liberty Series homes. Your kids have a short walk to the best schools in St. Charles. Choose from 2- and 3-car garages starting in the 400,000s. We have 4 move-in ready homes that are available now with special savings. Visit McKelveyHomes.com.
Today's YouTube live chat poll. While Annie's away, we thought we'd do something a little different. YouTube live chat poll today, are neckties still necessary? Yes or no? The world's changing. Is fashion changing? And is this one of the fashion items that needs to go? We want to hear your opinions on it. So jump on YouTube, search Annie Fry, and you'll find the chat there in the live stream. Vote, and then let us know what you voted and why you voted the way you voted. 12:42 is the time. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Thanks to the over 900 of you who showed up for the Great Strides Walk on Saturday, you raised almost $200,000 for cystic fibrosis. This is Ryan Wiggins. I have CF and have personally benefited from these advances in CF medicine. Thanks for being a part of this month's Conservatives Care.
Reluctantly crouched at the starting line. Engines pumping and thumping in time. The green light flashes, the flags go up. Churning and burning, they yearn for the cup.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
I probably shouldn't do this. When I get the microphone, I have a weekend show, so I get the microphone every weekend. But when I get a weekday slot like today, one of the things that you shouldn't do is out your coworkers. I'm not going to do that to Annie because I'll have to deal with that tomorrow. But I do want to out a couple other people. Number one is Trisha, who does Are You Okay every week. I invited her in for this segment, but she's not feeling really well, and so I wasn't going to force her to come in. The other day, I'm talking to her about lunch, which we talk about rather frequently, because I think she's envious of sometimes when I go to various fast food places, the random things that I order. I brought into the office, probably 2-3 days ago, nacho fries.
Oh, yeah.
From Taco Bell.
Taco Bell nacho fries.
You've had them?
Yes.
Are they not fantastic?
I don't know. They're
come on.
Like, they're not the best fast food fry, but they're pretty good.
I think I'd prefer them over any fry.
No, Rally's fries, bar none, best fry. But I like the seasoning on it. I think that it's good, and it goes with the nacho cheese dipping sauce. That's all great. I love it.
Oh, man, the cheese, I could eat them plain. And then you add cheese, and I'm like, this is God's gift to me that there's a Taco Bell within a couple blocks of the station. I love those things, and they are kind of a seasonal thing, but they're so popular that they're almost like the McRib, that it comes back so often that you forget that it's not there.
Yeah.
But I found this article about, it says 7 Taco Bell menu items that you've probably forgot about.
I bet you I haven't forgotten about
And I
them.
reserve this for you because I'm like, man, if anybody's going to know them, Brad's going to know them, because you used to work at Taco Bell.
Yes.
And you used to eat Taco Bell.
A lot.
A lot. He's a healthy guy now. But just see if you remember any of these. Cinnamon Crispas.
No, because they still have the cinnamon twists.
They have the cinnamon twists, but these are more like a nacho chip. I'll hold up the the page there. They're
Okay.
like chips that are covered in cinnamon sugar.
Looking at that picture there, that is way older than Brad is.
It is, yeah, this says they're 39 cents. So this was probably like early 80s. So you don't remember those?
No.
Okay, we got you on one. What about the Taco Bell Grande?
Taco Bell.
Can you describe this dish to us? This culinary
I
masterpiece.
remember hearing this, but I don't think I could describe it to you. The nachos Bel Grande are the nachos, but the Taco Bell Grande.
The Taco Bell Grande.
Is this? I feel like it was a platter.
Yeah, from the picture, and it doesn't really go in. It's more just like showing them to you. From the picture, it looks like just a supreme taco, but it was called the Bel Grande. I think this Bel Grande thing was a marketing tool that they kind of went through, like you said, with all the different nachos, Bel Grande. I think the nachos stuck around the longest.
Yeah, they're still there.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah.
Next one is Taco Light. Do
Ooh,
you remember this?
Did they put like the salsa on top instead of the cheese?
It looks like that's the case. Yeah, it's a chunky salsa.
They brought that back, and they called it Fresco.
Oh, a Fresco. What's the Cantina? Because that's
the Cantina is kind of like
Same
that,
thing?
but the Cantina is a little different. It's a different twist on what they have.
Okay. So I, as far as I understand it, the Cantina stuff just takes the cheese off.
Takes the cheese off, but they also have like a crispy chicken taco.
That's right.
And the Cantina bowls are more like black beans instead of pinto beans. And
It's
refried
amazing
beans.
looking at the ads from these eras of Taco Bell because it takes you back right there.
Yeah.
It's amazing how good they are at this stuff that you can see an ad from really any major brand and almost place it within your life. Oh, I know exactly when that was. Pizzazz Pizza.
It's just the Mexican pizza, I thought.
I think so, but it was
like
called
a circle
the Pizzazz
pizza with
Pizza.
the two fried things.
And it was small. It doesn't look like it was very big.
Well, the Mexican pizza isn't very big. It's
you're right.
Maybe like 6 inches in diameter.
Yeah. And apparently McDonald's did this first. They gave their customers the first taste of the McPizza in 1984, and Taco Bell followed soon after with the Pizzazz Pizza, the McPizza. Seafood salad.
No, I don't remember that one at all. No.
Seafood salad. And the last one is just the steak fajita. I guess this was a really popular dish, but it's not around anymore.
I kind of remember that one.
The sizzling steak fajita. And again, even the fonts that you see the advertisings with, you're like, oh my gosh, I totally remember
You
that.
got it printed off in black and white, but I remember the colors. Like Taco Bell used to have the brown and the yellow, and then now they're purple.
Brad, would you ever, since we're doing food news here,
sure,
would you ever eat a cicada?
No.
What about if that cicada was ground up and prepared on ice cream or whatever? Like
No.
they do seasonally.
Nope. If
You would
I
never
know
do
it's
it.
on there, I'm not interested. I'm not going to eat the bugs.
What if after the apocalypse, it is so hard to find food that you hit a 13-year cycle and you're like, thank God for the cicadas. I'm going to cook them.
I think I'd rather die.
I
don't want to eat the bugs.
But they're conditioning you to eat the bugs.
You're talking
Brad.
about survival. Survival's different, but by choice, because in a survival situation, it's not really a choice.
I said at the beginning of the segment that I was going to out a couple coworkers, so that was the Trisha portion. You were here for this, Brad. Today in my office, Mark Cox and I share an office. You know where I'm going with this. That he said, you know what you should do? It's a whole segment. And I said, did you do this on the morning show? He said, yeah. So I must have missed it. He talked about how the cicadas pee all over the place. And I'm like, what? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No, he's not kidding.
No, he's not.
Apparently, it's true. They're not big, so they don't pee a lot. But apparently, they pee with some real
What
force.
did he say? They eat like 3 times their body weight in tree sap
Every day.
every day,
And so that
it's
comes
gotta
out
go somewhere.
as pee. And I'm like, dude, you're messing with me. Because he's like, oh, you're hosting. You should do this. I'm like, come on. But he really did talk about this. It is real. And he said, and I don't know if he shared this, I think he probably did, that he went up to a tree to shake it because they'll swarm. You know, they'll leave the tree, and then you can get a picture of them, and it's crazy looking because there's so many of them, right? That he did that. And then he kind of looked down at his arms. He's like, what is that, like, film on me now?
Get a little damp here.
It's pee. So just a public warning. And I'm getting texts now. So
you're in trouble.
So hang on. Yeah. Okay. So there we go. But I said we're doing food news. So I did also have here 8 gross
Cicadas
foods.
aren't food.
Well, they could be. 8 gross foods that nutritionists say you should eat, though. The number 1 is called tremella mushrooms. I don't know what this kind of mushroom is, but are you a mushroom guy?
I do like mushrooms.
I like them more and more as I get older.
Yeah. Mushrooms on pizza.
I used to hate them, and I think because the little canned ones were just like
those are
the worst
very
possible
very mid.
mushroom. But man, my dad will make a grilled portobello mushroom on the grill with Andrea sauce.
You can go to Sugar Fire and get a smoked portobello mushroom sandwich. And so it's the cap like a burger.
See, and they're advertised as vegan things a lot of times, and so I don't even think about them because I'm like, it's not really my thing. But if you have a really good smoked or grilled mushroom,
add it to a burger.
They're really good.
Yes.
The other one is called natto. Have you ever heard of natto? This is fermented soybeans. A lot of this is overseas
No, I'm not
stuff.
eating that.
But here's where it gets interesting. Gross foods that they say most people consider gross that you should eat. Cottage cheese.
I like cottage cheese.
I do too.
I don't think it's gross.
Who thinks that's gross? We said it like out in the bullpen the other day outside of the studio, and most people were like, what? But I think there was one person who, it might have been Ethan, who said, ew, cottage cheese. That stuff.
I mean, that's got to be like a texture thing for people.
And it used to be for me too, but again, the brand, like Prairie Farms cottage cheese, man, that's
So
the
good.
best. Sardines.
I used to eat sardines all the time out of the can. Get
Apparently,
the
they're
little key.
really good for you.
Yeah.
They have a lot of vitamins in them.
Omega-3 fatty acids.
It's a weird food because it seems so over-prepared that you're like, well, this just looks like canned food, but apparently it is really good for you. Tuna fish is another one.
Love tuna.
I like tuna more and more the older I get too.
Especially fresh tuna.
Number 7 is organ meats. So,
like liver and...
Yeah.
Yeah. I know it's supposed to be rich for you, but man, I don't like what it tastes like.
Man, I never thought I would. Again, as I've gotten older, I love going to like KFC and getting the breaded livers. Oh my gosh, Church's chicken. And last one is how we got here. Insects.
No,
They say
I'm not
insects
eating the bugs.
Are actually good for you to eat. So just something for you to consider as you gaze about and look at cicadas. Maybe you should just open your mouth and walk around.
Don't
next time.
eat the bugs. And no, don't open your mouth when you're walking around with cicadas. We covered this.
Especially after we learned that they pee. Don't walk around with your mouth open outside in the season of the cicadas. This is Ryan Wiggins. We got Deroy Murdock coming up next here on the Annie Fry Show.
He's going for speed. She's all alone in a time of need. Because he's racing and pacing and plotting the course.
Ruler Foods is the place to go to lower your grocery bill, and this is a bill that we see frequently in my house, certainly with 4 hungry kids, and you got a family of 6, you got to feed them every day, 3 times a day, and the 14-year-old a little bit more than that from time to time. I need to save money on my groceries, and that's why we love shopping at Ruler Foods, because we get low prices every day on the name brands that we love, that we rely on, but also we get access to Kroger brands that come at Ruler Foods prices when you shop at Ruler Foods. Did you know that if you go to rulerfoods.com right now, that they also have now implemented delivery straight to your door? No excuses not to save right now on Ruler Foods. Reach out to them online, rulerfoods.com, and put your first order in today. Be in the game when it comes to saving money on the regular for the products that you use all of the time. Ruler Foods can help you do that, and you'll be pretty surprised at how much the savings amount to, especially after you fill that card up the first time and time again. Find them online at rulerfoods.com.
For garage door repair, St. Louis calls the real overhead door company of St. Louis. They're the ones with the red ribbon. They're the ones who've been here since 1926. Others try to copy the name, but cannot match the level of service. The red ribbon means 94 years of trust and loyalty from St. Louis homeowners. Always look for the red ribbon. It means you've got the genuine, the original overhead door company of St. Louis. Call 314-781-5200.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres? ¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Nos vamos a divertir mucho.
And that means we're going to have a lot of fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Military force alone won't get the job done. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. That from the U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan answering questions about a possible Israeli exit strategy for the war in Gaza.
We believe the only way to defeat Hamas and lead to Israel's long-term security is connect the military effort to a holistic, integrated strategy for defeat of Hamas and securing all of the other objectives that we've discussed. That's something that we think Israel could be clearer about.
Sullivan also reiterates President Biden's support for a two-state solution, but through direct negotiations, not unilateral recognition. This after several European countries announced they will recognize Palestine. The White House just announcing the FEMA administrator will head to Iowa tomorrow, ready to offer support after deadly tornadoes. Iowa's governor issuing disaster declarations for 15 counties. The tornado outbreak hitting the small town of Greenfield especially hard, southwest of Des Moines.
The search and rescue operations are still ongoing. Officials here keeping a tight lid on this town, only letting in folks who live here who can show proof of residency. Yesterday, this tornado struck around 3 p.m. and after it tore through this community, it was a frantic race to find the survivors.
Fox Weather's Max Gordon in Greenfield, where the hospital was also destroyed. The local lumber mill used as a triage center last night. Several deaths and injuries reported so far, the exact number not yet known. Families of 19 of the people killed in the Uvalde, Texas school shooting are now suing nearly 100 state police officers, part of the botched law enforcement response. However, attorney Josh Koskoff says they've also reached a $2 million settlement with the city, officials promising higher standards and better training for local police.
This was one ray of sunshine in a healing process.
This Friday marks 2 years since a teenage gunman killed 19 fourth graders and 2 teachers. America is listening to Fox News.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing.
But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. Call 800-822-1716. 800-822-1716.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Well, how's this for a temperature flip? 91 yesterday, 79 for the high today. The northwest wind, partly sunny skies. Still a chance of a pop-up thunderstorm, but a lot of dry time. Tonight, scattered showers and thunderstorms. 63 Thursday, partly to mostly sunny skies. Going to keep a chance of a spot storm, but a lot of dry time on Thursday. 82 degrees for the high. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
We're here to help you get registered to vote, whether you're in Missouri or Illinois. Democracy 2024 on 97.1 FM Talk. If you need help getting registered, go to 971talk.com/vote.
STS Armory is located in Pontoon Beach, and this is not just a place to be able to go buy a firearm. This is a place where you can go get questions answered. This is a place where you can go with minimal knowledge and feel by the time you've gone through the process and made your purchase like you're really educated, you're confident in the purchase that you're finally making, because they know the questions to ask you. If you're looking for maybe a carry weapon, if you're looking for the conceal and carry license to make sure that you're in cooperation with the state of Illinois and the rules and regulations that are in place there, they can help guide you through all of that. I had a conversation with Katie, one of the owners there. Katie and Jesse are so fantastic. And we were talking about how some of the big retail stores that also sell firearms, when people come in with questions, they say, you got to go to STS Armory. So even they are endorsing and recommending, in a way, STS Armory. It's where I go. It's where I send all of my family. And you can learn more about them online at sts-armory.com.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group. Are you worried about market volatility in this election year? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw, and as a family-owned business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. We have a lot of folks that aren't aware of all the new investment choices that are available, which give you growth and protection from losses at the same time. Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying? We can show you how to avoid those fees. So come in now for your free retirement review and get a second opinion on your retirement plan. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We are proud to say we haven't lost a penny of our clients' money in 38 years, and we won't lose a penny of yours either. Let our family help your family. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
I can see clearly now thanks to the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, and introducing Samuel Berry. You can too. Call 314-966-5000 or check out youridoc.com. That's youridoc.com.
Whatever electrical needs you have, repair, service, replacement, call on Reinhold Electric. A live person will answer the phone call and they'll set you up with an electrician. If you need an estimate, absolutely free from Reinhold Electric, you will actually talk to a live estimator. No job is too big or too small for Reinhold Electric. Reinhold Electric, for all your electrical needs in residential, commercial, and industrial, call 314-631-1158. That's 314-631-1158. Tell them Bo sent you to Reinhold Electric.
Tony LaRussa here. Men, are you running out of stamina rounding third base? If so, call my friends at Victory Men's Health in O'Fallon, Illinois. Scoring at home is important, just as important as crossing the plate with the winning run. VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio. I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
It is Wednesday, May 22nd. We're just a couple days from a holiday weekend. This is the Annie Fry Show. I'm Ryan Wiggins, filling in for Annie just for one day as she takes the day off to participate in some of her kids' graduation ceremonies. So thanks for being here. Every Wednesday at 1:07, we talk to Deroy Murdock. Deroy, thanks for being here.
Ryan, great to talk to you, and congratulations to Annie's kids on their graduation, and hopefully a wonderful, beautiful future for all of them.
Yeah, we just got I think we just got a picture of a bubble party happening. So yeah, it looked pretty fun.
So this is graduation from what, law school, business school?
I think all of the above. Yeah, they've really got some amazing kids, and they're only in seventh grade.
Yeah?
You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was assuming the bubble party is for younger grades, but the way things are going in law schools these days, maybe they do bubble parties at law schools. Maybe they should do bubble parties. I don't know. Maybe that's a good step forward.
Attract more people. We need a bigger pool of candidates, so maybe bubble
Absolutely.
parties are the answer. Deroy, I'm looking at your article here. The headline being that Carter Page is drawing parallels between the Trump trial and his own experience Remind us, Sue, now this is a great throwback, and I love that you've done the research here. Remind us why we all remember the name Carter Page.
Sure. Carter Page is a graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy. He's an expert on foreign energy. He spent a lot of time in Russia, and in fact was an intelligence source for the U.S. intelligence based on his experiences in Russia, speaking Russian, and all that. And he was one of the very first people involved in the whole Russiagate hoax because of his Russian experience. A man by the name of Kevin Kleinsmith, who was an attorney at the Department, FBI, Department of Justice, FBI in particular, put out an application for a FISA warrant to surveil Carter Page. And there was some information indicating that he was a member of the intelligence agencies, which are a source for U.S. intelligence, which would make his time in Russia and his Russian context look less suspicious. Kleinsmith, in fact, doctored or altered this information to say that he was not a U.S. intelligence source, which therefore made him look more suspicious for having visited Russia, having friends in Russia, doing business in Russia, and all that. And based on that doctored evidence, which falsified Carter Page's identity, they therefore went ahead and issued a search warrant or a surveillance warrant, which allowed the Obama-Biden Justice Department to spy on the Trump campaign. So I describe this as basically Watergate without the break-in. So all of this Russiagate nonsense started off with Obama-Biden administration spying on the Trump campaign, which you think would be illegal and disgusting and hideous, but they went ahead and did it, and very few people suffered any consequences. Kleinsmith was, in fact, convicted of, lying to the FISA court, and I believe he had 2 years of probation and a fine. I don't think he spent a day behind bars, as far as I remember. So Carter Page was here in New York City to observe the Trump trial, this ongoing case that's happening before Judge Juan Merchan and prosecuted by Alvin Bragg, the Manhattan DA, and Carter Page was in the courtroom. And he told me that in an exclusive interview I did with him, that this whole thing is deja vu. It reminds him of the Russiagate nonsense, all the persecution of people like Paul Manafort, George Papadopoulos, Roger Stone, General Michael Flynn, and all these other people who are supporters of President Trump, aides to advisors to President Trump, who the deep state have basically persecuted, tortured, bankrupted with legal fees, et cetera. And what you're seeing in the Manhattan criminal court building, which is on TV every night, is just the latest installment of the deep state, the never Trumpers, the Trump haters, not just running against Trump or opposing his ideas or offering a better vision, but instead, lock up your enemies, which I guess is the new approach of the modern Democrat Party and the Democrat left in America today.
Deroy, it's really amazing to think about all these names that we learned from about 2015 through now that we never really would have ever known and have no need to know, except that the government did things that created stories. And so many of these stories are still untold, but names like Carter Page, and it made me think of George Papadopoulos, names like this, that we really didn't need to know who they were, but the way that the government, and like you said, the deep state, put its tentacles around these people and created Hollywood-level stories that half of America doesn't even know is remarkable.
Yeah, and look, it'd be one thing if these guys, in fact, were Russian spies and were passing along U.S. state secrets to the Kremlin. Yeah, they should have been prosecuted and locked up. But these were American patriots who did nothing any more inappropriate or illegal than act as advisors to a U.S. presidential campaign. They should honor their civic-mindedness and sense of public service. And instead of doing that, the thought is, well, we don't like Trump, so let's throw these guys in jail. And they did throw Paul Manafort in jail. They threw Papadopoulos in jail. They threw Paul Manafort's assistant in jail. And General Flynn and Roger Stone would be in jail right now if they weren't pardoned by President Trump just before he left office. And this is the way that the Democrats behave, and they're at it right now. And all, as I explained in my article in the Daily Signal, it may pop up at other places, but dailysignal.com has it right now. Carter Page is looking at all this saying, yep, it's all part of the same hideous, nasty, anti-democratic pattern. And this is from the same people who claim, oh, we love democracy. Democracy's great. Trump's a threat to democracy. And guess who's locking up political opponents? It's not Trump. It's not the Republicans. It's Joe Biden, Joe Biden's Department of Justice, Obama's Department of Justice, Obama's FBI, and the left. So the left locks up its opponents while at the same time patting themselves on the back about their tremendous moving and stirring commitment to democracy. I mean, the hypocrisy of this whole thing is beyond nauseating.
Deroy Murdock is a nationally syndicated columnist, always a guest here on the Andy Fry Show on Wednesdays. I'm pulling from your article from the Daily Signal here about Carter Page, and you said you got to interview him exclusively, which is really cool. I wonder, just on a personal level, when these people undergo this kind of scrutiny and persecution from very, very powerful agencies. I mean, some of the most powerful people in the world are coming after them and basically spinning stories and creating narratives about them. You got to talk to him. What happens to somebody after the limelight leaves? You know, do they, everywhere they go, do people know the name and have an opinion? Like, what happens to them personally?
That's a very good question. I think he has been somewhat chastened by all of this, as you can imagine. He is recognized in public because he has a fairly distinct look, and sometimes people are nice and happy and supportive of him. Sometimes he gets F-bombs thrown his way because there are people who still believe, despite the fact that nobody was ever, according to 4 different investigations, the House and Senate Intelligence Committees, the FBI, and then finally the Mueller probe, Robert Mueller's investigation, that there was in fact no American citizen who cooperated with the Russians to undermine the 2016 election. It didn't happen. You've heard a lot of hue and cry about it, but it didn't occur, and this is a conclusion of both congressional and executive branch investigations. But despite that, people think, oh, Trump's a Russian spy, Carter Page is a Russian spy, they're traitors, and so people scream that at him. And yet, despite all that, he still, to my astonishment, has sort of a bit of a turn the other cheek, try to be forgiving kind of attitude about this. I think he's frankly too nice about it. And I'd be vengeful about this, but maybe I'm a nastier guy than he is. But he still likes to think that people have good intentions and they've give them the benefit of the doubt. My benefit of a doubt, my benefit of a doubt supply is just about tapped, unfortunately.
Deroy, is Carter Page a cautionary tale? Because when we talk about the President of the United States being persecuted for his politics, this is definitely something we've never really seen before. But Carter Page was not a name anybody knew, and yet they came after him. Is he a tale that every American who is not the President of the United States should be aware of?
I think that's a very good point. Absolutely. Carter Page was just anonymous. Nobody knew his name, or very few people knew his name, his loved ones and maybe his business associates, but certainly nobody famous. And, as we said, they slapped a federal surveillance warrant on him, started, tapping his phones and reading his emails and so on. If they can do it to Trump, they can do it to Carter Page. They can do it to anybody listening to the sounds of our voices right now. Not exactly directly related, but certainly tangentially related. There are people who were in Washington, D.C. to hear President Trump speak on January 6th. Every American has the right to hear the President of the United States give a speech. And as you know, some terrible people went in and kicked down the doors of the Capitol, broke the windows, and those people all should be in prison. But there are other people who just were in the area and they saw people walking in the Capitol and, innocently and naively, they thought, oh, look, I guess it's open house in the U.S. Capitol. Let's take a look. And they went in and took some pictures and, posed for photos and all that. And they're in jail now. There was a man who's in the U.S. Capitol apparently for a grand total of 3 minutes, and he's now going to spend a couple of years in jail for this. So those people are not famous. A lot of them have very little, very few resources to engage in, fancy legal defense of this kind of thing. A lot of them took plea deals because if they didn't, they'd have to go to court and they'd be bankrupted. So yeah, absolutely. The left is they have no sense of humor. They are vicious. They are nasty. And if they can throw you in jail as a conservative, a Republican, a Trump supporter, and then get away with it, they gladly will do it. So Carter Page is very much a cautionary tale, and that's where we are today, and that's all the more reason that these people need to be taken out of power in November and given a nice taste of their own medicine. And maybe at that point, this whole lawfare thing will come to an end.
Deroy, that's a great parallel you're drawing there with the J6. Some of those people at January 6th, I interviewed a guy on my weekend show about 2 months ago now. I wish I could remember his name and call it up right away, but I can't. But he's been in prison for almost a little over 3 years now and has not had a trial.
Unbelievable.
That is
Unbelievable.
political persecution at its finest.
Absolutely.
I mean, because if you're able to actually try the case of what this guy did, then he either would be guilty of something or he would be not guilty. But just keeping him in prison is against the law. It's against our Constitution.
You're right about that. And look, if this guy did something wrong and he broke windows or beat up a cop or whatever, and then, lock him up. And if he didn't, let him go. Justice delayed is justice denied, as they say. And to keep somebody around for 3 years without charging him is the kind of thing that you expect to see in East Germany or in Cuba or North Korea. And for that kind of thing to go on in the United States, not for a week or two or a month or two, but for 3.5 years is astonishing. And this is the kind of thing that you will see in Amnesty International reports described as human rights violations. That is a human rights violation of the price second order, first order, I guess, being things like being shot on sight by prison wardens, that kind of thing. But this is a serious human rights violation, not to be charged. And this guy ought to be charged, indicted for whatever charges apparently he's suspected of taking place, and then he ought to be tried. And if he's guilty, throw him in jail. If he's not guilty, let the man get on with his life. But again, this is the we love democracy. We're small d Democrats. We love democracy, and Trump is Hitler. The people who say they claim they're for democracy they're the ones keeping people locked up for 3.5 years without even giving them giving what they deserve under the U.S. Constitution, which is to be charged with a crime and then put on trial and either convicted or acquitted. So this is what we get from the Democrat left, which is increasingly totalitarian and every day more reminiscent of East Germany and the Soviet Union, and less so the United States of America.
Deroy, before we let you go, I got a New York question for you.
Please.
A poll has just come out from Siena, New York Times, that has Trump down by just single digits in New York. Are you telling me there's a chance?
I think there's a chance. I think it'd be a long shot here, but it's, I think, within the realm of possibility, as opposed to being in the realm of fantasy. Because of everything going on here, I think there are people who either feel that President Trump is a victim of injustice, or he's been cheated, or they feel sorry for him. I mean, what the Alvin Bragg and the Democrat left have done is be able to turn Donald J. Trump into a sympathetic figure. Who thought that could be possible? And so there are people who feel that he's been robbed. There are a lot of black and Hispanic people who are sick and tired of the Democrats. They show up every 4 years and make a lot of promises. They tell you the Ku Klux Klan is coming, and then Democrats and Hispanics run to the polls, vote the Democrats in, and they go, all right, see you in 4 years, bye, and they turn their backs, and that's it. We don't see them again. And a lot of people are sick and tired of that pattern. And they're looking, they're either thinking, I'm not going to support the Democrats, or thinking, you know what, I'm actually might go ahead and support Donald J. Trump. He's doing a rally in the Bronx, South Bronx here tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. It could be a big success, which will be a bellwether as to whether there's any, within the realm of possibility. And if Trump does very well upstate, and he does as well as Republicans have been doing on Long Island, as they have been in recent years, that Republicans now run Nassau County and Suffolk County on Long Island, he doesn't have to win New York City. He just needs to get beaten up but not bludgeoned. And if he can get, I think it's about 34, 35%, I think it is, of the New York City vote, and then do about as well as most Republicans do upstate and in Long Island, it's a long shot, but it's possibly could win New York State. And if he does, that completely changes the electoral map and the race for 270 electoral college votes.
Yeah, and there's a term from 2016 and 2020 that I'm not hearing as much this year, but I think plays into the election just as much, if not more, called the enthusiasm gap. And I see that on display so much in New York. Deroy, thank you so much for being here, and keep an eye on New York for us.
All right, Ryan, thank you very much. Good to talk to you.
All right, you too. Deroy Murdock, nationally syndicated columnist and frequent guest on the Annie Fry Show. Love his opinion every week here. We are going to take a short break, but we have a replay coming up of Tulsi Gabbard. Now, if you missed Annie's interview with her on, let's see, today's Wednesday, so this would have been Monday. You got to stick around. This is an interesting conversation because of who she is and where she's at politically. You know, she's an independent, yet she's releasing a book right now. A lot of people releasing books right now who may be a part of a future Trump administration. I'm not saying we know any of that. I'm just saying that that's the kind of person she is. That's the category that she's in. So stick around, especially if you didn't hear that on Monday, for Tulsi Gabbard coming up next.
listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Follow Annie on Instagram at The Annie Fry Show.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right nice soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
If you're thinking of selling your home, I'm sure there are two things you want: certainty and the most money, right? Hi, it's Mark Cox, and if you've been listening to me for some time, you know the only agent I trust is Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, St. Louis real estate expert. Here's why she should be your first and only call when looking for an agent. Gloria doesn't make empty promises. No, she provides written guarantees. Now, what does this mean for you? Certainty. Now, certainty isn't the only thing you want. You also want the most money. Gloria is able to get her home sellers more money than the average agent because she already has the buyers. This is why Gloria will guarantee to sell your home at your agreed upon price, or she'll buy it. To get your guaranteed price, call St. Louis real estate expert Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
You know, I don't know what is going on here, but I was recently attacked servicing an air conditioner by two cicadas. Definitely planned. It had to be planned. One flew right into my mouth, and when I spit that horrible thing out, one came crashing into the back of my head. But I'm just telling you, cicadas don't taste good. They're gross. Something has to be done. So everybody be careful out there with the cicadas. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Be careful with the cicadas. I know there was at least one planned attack on me by two. But again, this is about air conditioning. So if you do need service on your air conditioner this summer, what works really good, I found, for me and my customers, is if you just save this number, my name and the number in your phone. That is 314-293-2600. Or on the website, and you can see some videos, bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. If you're not sure who to call for air conditioning services, contact the team at Air Comfort Service. With 55 years of experience and thousands of 5-star reviews, you can trust them with the comfort of your home. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Cody Smith, Missouri State Representative.
Our revenues are starting to plateau a little bit with those tax cuts coming off in the short term. So the state government had to live within its means, tighten its belt a little bit. And this year we have a budget that's actually smaller than last year's budget.
Weekdays from 3 to 6. This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFryShow.
have our next guest join the Annie Fry Show here. We're speaking with New York Times bestselling author Tulsi Gabbard, a 4-term congresswoman and combat veteran currently serving as lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army Reserve. And we're going to talk about
All right, some technical problems. Brad will get that figured out, and we'll bring that interview back to you here as soon as we can. Of course, it's YouTube's problem, so let's blame the corporation. Now it's playing a Jill Biden ad. Don't air that, Brad. Don't air this. Let's talk real quick about Tulsi and her position in this race. I really had not been considering her as a possible vice presidential candidate. I don't even know if she's considering that. But whenever you are part of the book tour that is happening right now with so many others, I think we talked to Ben Carson. He has been talked about as a VP candidate. And I'm getting the thumbs up that we're okay with the Tulsi interview. So we'll jump back in. If we have technical problems, we'll jump back out. Stick around.
Congresswoman and combat veteran currently serving as lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army Reserve. And we're going to talk about her first book, For Love of Country, which is topping the bestseller charts, available now. And Congresswoman, so great to have you. You and I spent some time together. I listened to the audio version of the book, and I was so pleased to get to know so much more about you. Thank you for being with us here today.
Thank you so much, Annie. It's great to join you. And thank you for taking the time to read and to listen to the book. I really put a lot of my heart and time into it because of what we're facing as a country right now, and the hopes and really the knowledge that there are a lot of other Americans who have their own path that's very similar to mine. Former Democrats, maybe even current Democrats, people who are politically homeless, and yet who are in a place, unfortunately, where they're too afraid to stand up and speak the truth.
Yeah, I think that going into this book, I was so intrigued at the opportunity to take you in your own words, because I think you're one of the most interesting enigmas that have come out of Washington, D.C. I know that's how we kind of got to know you, as you coming out of Washington, D.C. I'm sure people who go there don't want to be defined by that. But to understand, your book is about leaving the Democratic Party, but that doesn't automatically turn you into Republican. And so people are kind of wondering, like, who are you if you don't fit in this two-party system? What do you stand for? And you lay this out beautifully about the things you care about most. And the thing that I learned the most about you is your long legacy that you've had serving both your country in the military, in political service, and even, in Hawaii, the land that you love there. I think that service is at the key of this. And we do not live in a culture right now that emphasizes serving.
Yeah, Annie, I'm smiling right now because I have been called a quote unquote political enigma for as long as I've been involved with politics.
That's a compliment.
And it is a compliment. It's a reflection of who I am, which is I'm an independent minded person, and my love and my loyalty and my commitment and dedication is to our country and to the American people, not one party or another party. Obviously, there are practical implications of political parties in our system, and I'm very cognizant of that. But for anybody to be simply judged by or forced to fit into a specific box or a specific label, it's just not real. It's not how we are as humans. There are some things I agree with and some things I disagree with, and that's one of the things that I talk about in my book. Was what attracted me originally to the Democratic Party was that it seemed to be a big open tent party that welcomed people who had different ideas and different experiences to actually come and talk through how do we solve the great challenges of our day, and know that even if we're not starting out on the same page, if we share the same objective, we can get to that best solution through an open dialogue and discussion, through exercising our right to free speech and freedom of expression. And of course, now fast forward 20 plus years, that doesn't exist in today's Democratic Party. Yeah. It's one of the most disturbing things because of our fundamental right to free speech and how the Democratic Party has become so undemocratic and so unwelcoming, or completely rejecting people who don't conform to whatever their specific narrative or agenda is of the day. You look at the Republican Party now, and I have a lot of friends in the Republican Party, people I worked with throughout my 8 years in Congress. And some people, if you watch the mainstream cable news, are like, oh gosh, what's wrong with these people? And even some Republicans ask me, like, how are Democrats like so disciplined? They all do whatever their boss says to do. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing to have a political party that is welcoming of people with very different ideas and views on how to solve these problems. And that's what we should encourage more of in the country, regardless of what party you belong to.
I agree wholeheartedly. Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard with us right now. I want to pull out one little anecdote that really just hit the juxtaposition kind of to what you're saying right there about, a representative goes to Congress, you go to Capitol Hill because you are representing constituents. Now, those constituents for you are in Hawaii. You tell a story here about, and you've been very peace forward, I'll put it that way. You've talked about nuclear war quite a lot as a very serious issue. And there was a time during the Obama administration where there was going to be some action in Syria. And you talked a little bit in your book about a woman you met at a gas station. And then you followed that up with a phone call you got from the chief of staff from the first lady. And I had to ask myself, like, I had to pause and say, man, once you get there, once you get inside the Beltway, who are you representing? Is it the constituent or the party? And I was going to ask you if you could maybe share a little bit about those two individuals who you spoke to about that. It's really powerful.
Yeah, thanks, Annie. And this directly connects to what we just talked about the difference between blind party loyalty and allegiance, putting party ahead of what's best for the country rather than the other way around, actually putting what's best for the country first and foremost, which is why I titled the book that I did. It is for love of country that I am who I am and that I do what I do. When I was first elected to Congress and sworn in as a new member of Congress, in a very unexpected way to me, there was a lot of noise and positive coverage and soft news stories about me as I was coming as a new member of Congress, a lot of excitement in the Democratic Party. People saying she's the rising star, she's the future, all of these things. They didn't really know who I was. They had read the top lines about me or my bio, but very quickly within those first few months of my being in office, they recognized I was not going to allow myself to be a puppet for them and their interests, and that the reason why I ran, the priorities that I came and brought with me to Congress was to serve our country and to honor my brothers and sisters who I served with overseas in the Middle East, who never made that trip home, who made that ultimate sacrifice. And so the story you're talking about actually happened about 6 or 7 months after I had been in Congress. President Obama came to Congress seeking authorization to start a new regime change war in the Middle East, this time in Syria. And after I looked at this woman, heard about it in the news.
Jill Biden tried to throw us off again, but we're not going to let her. Jill, stop it. You hear me? Are we back to the interview?
And I didn't know who she was, but she grabbed my arm and with tears welling up in her eyes, just shared how she had been so concerned about her son who had been deployed. He had finally come home, and she was terrified about the difficulty in transition that he was having of going from being at war for so long and now coming home, only to have this threat popping up in the news that he may be forced to go back yet again. And her fear was that I may lose him forever. I just got him back. They want to take him away again, and for what? And so I've never forgotten that exchange I had with her. I had others similar to that with many people after that. But after going and doing the analysis of what the president was asking of Congress, I came to the conclusion that this is not in the best interest of the American people or our country. There's no clear objective. There's no exit plan. And we would end up likely in yet another decades-long boondoggle like we've seen happen too often in the Middle East. I said that publicly, was the first Democrat to come out against President Obama's request, and immediately got a call from the White House saying, how dare you? Not based on substantive differences. The message was, how dare you go against your team? How dare you go against your president without care for, well, Tulsi, you've been deployed twice to the Middle East. Maybe you have some experience about your concerns. And so this, again, is further evidence of the problem of what happens with politicians who put party before country.
It was very frustrating for me to hear that, but I think it's realistic to think about the party pressure that gets put on people once they go to represent. But it's not just intra-party that pressure hits. I mean, we've seen, you talk in your book also about the Google suppression, that you had this great peak of interest after your debate. And that was immediately like, oh, that's problematic. We got to stop that. Google participated in squashing that. And now we know in 2024 how much more big tech has participated in shaping the narrative. And, with everything that you've learned, Tulsi, with the really great force to keep you at bay in the Democrat Party so much that you said, peace out, that I wonder how much of the whole narrative has been shaped for us and how many Americans are kind of waking up going, everything that I've been told for so long, it just doesn't feel right. They got a gut feeling. The Biden administration is not really making the case very strongly for the Democrat Party. Like, where do you think the mental space is right now for the average, not super politically involved American voter?
Yeah, first, just real quick, you mentioned Google, you mentioned big tech, a lot of the evidence that has actually come to light in the years after my own personal experience of Google intervening on behalf of the Democratic National Party. People ask me, in my book, I talk a lot about the Democrat elite. They say, who are the Democrat elite? Well, those are two examples. It is not only the elected figureheads of the party that we know of, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, but it is their partners in the mainstream media. It is big tech and social media moguls. It is those who are willing to do their bidding. It is their multi-billion-dollar funders like George Soros. These are the people pulling the strings. These are the people making decisions. I think because of the consequences of these insane policies, like trying to tell us a boy can be a girl anytime he says, I am a girl, forcing girls into a position where Title IX is totally destroyed, and any possibility of a true, fair, and equal level playing field for women and girls in sports is gone out the window under this administration. You look at things like defund the police, their open border policies and how they're affecting communities and cities all across the country. I think as these things continue, do have that gut feeling that I don't pay attention to politics, but what's happening is not good. My paycheck is going shorter and shorter. I can't afford to buy the things that I used to be able to afford. These things are becoming harder and harder for people to deny. I'm encouraging them to recognize the cause of people's problems through this book, and therefore then recognize, okay, what do I as an American need to do about this? Because we all have to own our responsibility to save our country, to defend our freedom.
Congressman Tulsi Gabbard with us right now. We're speaking about her latest book, For Love of Country, Leave the Democrat Party Behind. I encourage you to get it. I've read it myself, and I highly recommend it to get a full understanding in Tulsi's own words, who she is and why she's not a Democrat anymore and where she is right now. I mean, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention your presidential aspirations that have existed, and you really did, even in the midst of all of the opposition, get the attention of the American people. I'm curious if you still have those presidential aspirations, if they're near to your heart right now, or how you feel about a potential run once again.
The thought has never entered my mind that I am, I've chosen a quote unquote political career. I've never seen it that way. And so I've never aspired, oh, well, one day I will be president for the sake of being president. I have no interest in that. My run for the presidency in 2020, and if I were to run again, would be rooted in a recognition that that there is not someone else already stepping up to the plate who I feel confident in is committed to our Constitution, committed to putting the American people first, who is not beholden to the military-industrial complex, and who takes seriously my brothers and sisters in uniform and the choice that we've made to lay down our lives for our country and understand the cost that comes with that decision between war and peace. If that person is there, then I wouldn't need to run for president. Whether I run again or not, I don't know. My goal is to serve our country and to uphold the oath that I took to the Constitution.
If I may, just one final question. We're speaking with Tulsi Gabbard about her latest book. When people like you feel as though, maybe I didn't leave the Democrat Party, the Democrat Party left me, somewhere in there where positions haven't totally changed, but you don't recognize the party that you used to support. People are compelled right now to think it's the Democrat Party and Trump. And the idea of leaving the Democrat Party and directly supporting Trump seems like a jolt for a lot of people. You've experienced time with Donald Trump as an individual, as a man, as somebody who has run this country. What advice do you give to those people who feel like this Democrat Party isn't for me anymore, knowing that Donald Trump is the consequence of less support for the Democrat Party?
I just encourage people to set whatever, feelings or emotions that they may have around certain individuals aside and actually focus on the consequences of policies. This is a unique time in our country where we have two people running against each other, both asking to be our president and both who have served as president. They actually have a record that we can look to. We don't just have to buy what they're saying and hope they mean what they say. There's an actual record and comparison to know what kind of president they would be and the results of their policies. And so whether we're talking about border security, the economy, the inflation that we are continuing to experience now for years, we look at foreign policy and domestic policy. We look at the security of our country and our ability to live in safe and peaceful communities. You may not be hope inspired. You may not have your ideal dream candidate. This is the real world that we live in. And the choice that we have before us, in my view, is very clear. And the differences are stark. Yeah. People will make their decisions on election day, but I just encourage people to make sure that those are informed decisions and think about what is in the best interest of you and your kids, your family, and our ability to live in a truly free, safe, and peaceful society.
Yeah, but we have such a clear choice in front of us, and this current way of doing things is not sustainable. Tulsi Gabbard, the book is For Love of Country, Leave the Democrat Party Behind. I encourage people to check out the audiobook because you have a wonderful voice to listen to, keep you company for a while. Thank you so much for the time today. It's been an honor to have you.
Great to talk to you, Annie. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You as well. We've been speaking...
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Hey, it's Annie, and I am so excited to be talking to you once again about Cassens & Sons Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. I am currently in possession of 2 cars that I have purchased from Cassens, and I'll tell you a story about when I went back to get the Jeep. Remember when I talked about my husband hitting the deer? It came time to find out, okay, the Explorer that we used to have, it was totaled. We needed to get a new car. I just went to Cassens. I didn't go anywhere else. I didn't shop around because I trust Cassens. From start to finish, the honesty that you get when you shop at Cassens, the straight to the point, great pricing. The competition is out there and they're working to beat Cassens. But what I get for Cassens, it's earned my business for good. At Cassens right now, check out their 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo. 4x4, 0 money down. Listen to this lease. $438.43 monthly lease. 36 months, 10,000 miles per year. Tax, title, and license not included. This is a great opportunity for you to get in a beautiful car. Become a Jeep owner like myself. Go to CassensSons.com.
Hey homeowners, it's time to transform your house into a masterpiece with Lakeside Renovation and Design, your James Hardie siding experts. Picture this, durable, weather-resistant siding that doesn't just protect, but elevates your home's value and curb appeal. James Hardie, the gold standard in siding, installed by the pros at Lakeside. Say goodbye to maintenance headaches and hello to a home that stands the test of time. Ready for a siding upgrade? Lakeside Renovation and Design is your go-to. Visit our showroom or call today. Unleash the potential of your home with James Hardie Siding.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free Just go to ziprecruiter.com/radio. That's ziprecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
Say hello to Lumi, the whole-body deodorant developed with your whole body in mind. Pits, privates, and beyond. It's outrageously effective and clinically proven to block odor all day, anywhere you have body odor and wish you didn't, and keeps controlling odor up to 72 hours. Lumi is different. Developed by an OBGYN, Lumi goes beyond masking odor to control body odor in a way certain other deodorants and soap don't. Start controlling body odor everywhere, not just armpits. Experience whole body freshness from Lumi Whole Body Deodorant today. Go to LumiDeodorant.com to be the best smelling you of all time. There's a special offer for listeners. Use code 203 and get 15% off your first purchase with code 203. Like the Lumi Starter Pack, acidified body wash, or new Lumi Plus sweat control. That's LumeDeodorant.com, code 203 for 15% off your first purchase. Love it or return it for free. That's LumeDeodorant.com, code 203 to save 15% today. LumeDeodorant.com.
Today's YouTube live chat poll, neckties. Are they still necessary? We want to know what you think. That is today's YouTube live chat poll. You can find the poll on Annie's YouTube page. Just go to Annie Fry on YouTube, find the live stream, the poll be in the chat, and then in the chat, tell us why you voted the way you voted. The time is currently 1:50. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
97.1 FM Talk. You're here. Not because of a label, but because conservative ideas actually work. St. Louis's home for conservative talk. This is 97.1 FM Talk.
I'm sat alone in a boggy marsh.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
She totally confused all the passing piranhas. She's in my head.
I really like this song, but it makes me mad every time I hear it because I enjoy it so much. And then I get mad that they did it in about, 1994, 1995, right in that era. And it was just such a layup for Weird Al to do Gump. Like, of course you got to do Gump. Like, it was like they made it so that it would be parodied for Gump.
That was his whole purpose in making that song.
That album was actually pretty good. The President's United States of America, which was one of the dumbest bands.
Didn't they also sing Peaches?
Peaches, and then Kitty, and there was one called Boll Weevil. They really had an obsession with animals and insects. But that was a really good album, and it was such a waste of time and in good spirits. I always remember, too, that I really, really liked that album. As you would guess, like it was like the prime time. I was like 15 when it came out, and it's stupid, and therefore I loved it. I remember Metallica saying right after it came out that this was a travesty for rock music and we would never recover from this. I'm like, get over yourselves. I enjoyed Metallica too, but I'm like, come on, guys. It's presidents of the United States of America singing Lump.
Yeah.
It's not the end of civilization.
It's probably also around the time when Metallica made everybody mad about, what was it, LimeWire or whatever?
I remember this, but I don't
It was
remember
like,
the details.
yeah, they got really upset about pirating music, and rightfully so, but they made everybody mad when they did that.
Okay. Napster.
Yeah.
Were you involved in this whole era?
Oh, for sure.
I was a couple of years older than you.
It was Napster, then LimeWire, right?
I don't remember LimeWire as much. Napster was the big one that was first.
Right.
And then all the other ones came along. And I was in college when Napster was it was like my freshman year of college when it was huge. And I never used Napster, but I had so many friends that were using it that I would just be like, look, just I'd give them a set list. Like, here you go.
Yeah, they'd give you a burnt CD.
Yeah, and the argument against it at the time, it's so funny, the difference in your mindset when I'm 42 versus when I was 22 or 18 or whatever I was. That at the time, I'm like, yeah, down with the man. The argument that they made in court, I think this was Napster's attorneys, was that, no, this isn't actually stealing music because it's digital. And they'd say, like, look at what this file is. It's just a bunch of ones and zeros. So it's not intellectual property because it's not real, essentially, is what they're saying. I mean, what a time period that was and a timepiece that argument was. And now I'm, much older and thinking that would destroy the music industry.
It would have absolutely done it.
And part of me at the time wanted the music industry to be destroyed just because you're 20 and you're like, screw them, I love music and I hate corporate America. But you also have to have musicians making money to make music and have a career. So you have to factor these things in. And man, what a mess that industry is. By the way, we just opened the window here in the studio here in downtown St. Louis. I guess some storms are getting ready to move in. As I understand it, they are threatening us as we speak, and the 2 o'clock / 3 o'clock hour in St. Louis are going to be something you're going to stay tuned for, because we'll get better reporting than this. We're just sort of seeing it happen in real time. But before we get to the top of the hour here, we get a great 2 o'clock hour coming up for you, in which, little tease here, Brad's wife contacted me without his knowledge. Now, I thought that was weird, and I brought it up last week just briefly, but there's a big update on this, because I had to say to Brad's wife, look, I feel like this is inappropriate. She was messaging me on Facebook, and she was asking me for money and all kinds of stuff. I'm beginning to think that maybe that was a scammer that had hacked her page. Still no confirmation of whether that's true. I've never asked her directly. I've never asked Brad. I figured the best way to air this out was on the air.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, you're welcome. So we'll figure out whether together this is actually your wife that I've been talking to for like a week and a half now or not. The YouTube live chat poll of the day: are neckties still necessary? Now, this might sound like one that's not important, but I don't know that I've ever wanted to know the results of a poll more than this, because I have really strong thoughts about ties and whether they're necessary or not. I hope I'm not giving too much away here, because I haven't given my opinion yet. But I would really like to know from not just the guys, but the girls too, are neckties still necessary in 2024 in modern America? Because I have a feeling that this is going to be a tougher poll than it would seem. Like, I think your answer is probably like really quick, but not everybody's going to be on the same page. So we'll discuss that in the 2 o'clock hour, and of course get the results at the end of the show. This is the Annie Fry Show. We'll keep an eye on this weather for you. Stay tuned. Annie taking the day off, just one day. She'll be back tomorrow. And then we'll be out at the GOP Illinois convention on Friday in Collinsville all together, doing some X's and O's and talking to people out there. It's going to be a good week, going to be a good 2 o'clock hour as well, so stick around.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
What's your favorite four-letter word? Chances are you've said it more than a few times dealing with this crazy world we live in. But at Compass Retirement Solutions, our four-letter word of choice is hope. Hope for a better tomorrow. And hope that your retirement plans don't take a back seat. You've watched inflation soar, and maybe your retirement future feels a little uncertain right now. But all hope is not lost. Find out exactly how much risk you're still taking with your investments. Find out how you may be able to save big on taxes. And find out how having a written retirement plan just might give you the hope you've been looking for. Call today to set up a meeting. 314-373-1598. That's 314-373-1598. Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services but does not provide tax advice. Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory firm in Missouri and Illinois. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Your garage door is always there for you, rain or shine. Are you taking your garage door for granted? Is it screeching and whining for attention? Trust Overhead Door Company of St. Louis to keep your garage door reliable. Maybe the old weather stripping needs replaced to keep out the cold and hot air. Call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, trusted here since 1926. For same-day service, call 314-781-5200 and schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
At Onder Law, we deliver big judgments for the little guy. Onder Law takes on the biggest industries and holds them accountable. Call today for a free review at 314 or 618-90000.
What's wrong with Rick? He's kind of spacey. That's Rick's identical twin, Scott. He's not used to answering to Rick. What's going on? Rick asked me to keep it secret, but he asked his twin to cover his shift so he could go to Diamonds Direct to shop. But this is a jewelry store. Exactly. But the prices and selection are so much better at Diamonds Direct. Rick doesn't want the boss to get suspicious, so Scott's here in case the boss sees Rick at Diamonds Direct. But that would mean that the boss is at Diamonds Direct too. Yeah, we have a lot of secrets.
You never know who you'll run into at Diamonds Direct. With unbeatable direct importer prices, the highest quality diamonds, the most sought-after designer rings, the best customer service, the strongest guarantees in the industry, it's just a no-brainer.
You think if Scott had a mustache, he'd look like me?
Go where everyone goes. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. Learn more at diamondsdirect.com. Official partner of the St. Louis Blues.
Tune in to the Home Improvement Show sponsored by Mosby Building Arts, Saturdays 12 to 1 p.m. on 97.1 for expert advice on remodeling, design, and construction. This live Q&A show begins at noon, or find podcasts at mosbybuildingarts.com.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
A disaster in Iowa. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. After a deadly tornado outbreak yesterday, search and rescue efforts continue. Several deaths already reported, and much of a small town leveled southwest of Des Moines. Fox Weather's Max Gordon.
Now, we talked to one resident here in Greenfield who said he ran to his basement as the sirens went off and heard a noise like a freight train.
I didn't know if I was going to come back out of the house. I really didn't.
White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre.
We are praying for those who tragically lost their lives as deadly tornadoes that ripped through Iowa. We are also wishing a speedy recovery to those who were injured. The administration is deeply grateful for first responders who jumped into action to save lives.
She says the FEMA administrator will visit Iowa tomorrow. The White House says violence and threats have no place anywhere, including politics, after 2 vials of blood reportedly addressed to former President Trump turned up at the Republican National Committee headquarters in Washington earlier today. The building was briefly evacuated and hazmat teams called in. U.S. Capitol Police are investigating. Attorneys for Hunter Biden are in court in Los Angeles trying to have a trial on tax charges delayed just 2 weeks before his gun-related trial begins in Delaware. Meantime, a House committee suspects the president's son lied during a deposition with lawmakers, mischaracterizing his role with a Biden-related firm, also taking issue with testimony about helping a foreign national get a visa.
And finally, Hunter Biden says he spoke with a Raymond Zhao. In the deposition, Hunter says he sent a text to the wrong Zhao when he was on drugs. However, records show that Hunter spoke to Zhao. Zhao is connected with a major Chinese energy company.
Fox's Chad Pergram on Capitol Hill. The Ways and Means Committee voting to release documents. Hunter Biden's lawyer says he's being targeted for political reasons. America is listening to Fox News.
The Angie's List you know and trust is now Angie, and we're so much more than just a list. We still connect you with top local pros and show you ratings and reviews, but now we also let you compare upfront prices on hundreds of projects and book a service instantly. We can even handle the rest of your project from start to finish. So remember, Angie's List is now Angie, and we're here to get your job done right. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. Call 800-822-1716. 800-822-1716.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Well, how's this for a temperature flip? 91 yesterday, 79 for the high today. The northwest wind, partly sunny skies. Still a chance of a pop-up thunderstorm, but a lot of dry time. Tonight, scattered showers and thunderstorms. 63 Thursday, partly to mostly sunny skies. Going to keep a chance of a spot storm, but a lot of dry time on Thursday. 82 degrees for the high. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Do you owe back taxes or have unfiled tax returns? The IRS won't quit until they get your money. Here's great news, fresh from those in the know. Major changes have happened at the IRS. If you owe more than $10,000, you may be eligible for a 99% reduction of what you owe. Haven't filed a return for a while? Their happy clients are talking.
The IRS was going to levy my bank account, but Guardian was able to prevent that and fix all my IRS issues. Thanks again, Guardian Tax.
Need relief from crushing tax debt? The IRS now has special programs. Guardian Tax knows all about them. Personal or business, this is the fresh new break you've been hoping for.
We aren't the company you call when you need a hug because you're scared of the IRS. Guardian Tax is the company that wins when you need it most.
Guardian Tax Service is really great to work with. They really help me out. I'd recommend them highly.
Call now for a free confidential consultation. 800-499-1424. 800-499-1424. 800-499-1424.
Would you just give your house key to criminals? Having your personal information on the internet is like giving a thief the key to your home. They can take everything that's valuable to you anytime. But JoinDeleteMe.com can help you protect yourself. Online data brokers compile information about you and sell it to people who could ruin your life. But JoinDeleteMe.com scours the web, removes the personal information you don't want seen, and prevents data brokers, scammers, identity thieves, even political enemies from getting personal information that could hurt you, your family, or your reputation. You'll get regular reports detailing what they find and remove. And JoinDeleteMe.com isn't AI. It's real people working to keep your data safe. Keep your private life private with JoinDeleteMe.com. Today, get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/news and use promo code NEWS at checkout. Go to joindeleteme.com/news and enter code NEWS at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/news, code NEWS.
Gain peace of mind that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's Flooring Outlet. They give all their clients attentive personal service, even bring toys for the kids of the household. It's a family-owned and operated business for 25-plus years. They make sure you make the right choice for your home. So if you have carpets or hard floors, you're going to be happy for years to come. 3 convenient locations in St. Charles County, 116 Main Street, in Old Town St. Peters at Mid-Rivers and Highway 70, in West County on Olive, and the store in Darden Prairie. Michael's Flooring Outlet, IGotFloor.com.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
Thanks to the over 900 of you who showed up for the Great Strides Walk on Saturday, you raised almost $200,000 for cystic fibrosis. This is Ryan Wiggins. I have CF and have personally benefited from these advances in CF medicine. Thanks for being a part of this month's Conservatives Care.
The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
Goodness sake, kid, keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio. I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
This is the Annie Fry Show. It is raining really hard here in downtown St. Louis. Pulling up the radar right now. Give you an update on that in just a minute. I am going to also give you an update on some breaking news. The headline here from Fox News says House GOP is claiming that Hunter Biden lied under oath multiple times during congressional deposition and that they have indisputable evidence from our own here in Renton, Missouri, Jason Smith, saying they have indisputable evidence the first son, Hunter Biden, lied under oath. multiple times during his congressional deposition earlier this year. The House Ways and Means Committee on Wednesday held a markup session to discuss documents protected under IRS code. So this is related to all the tax stuff. A portion of the tax code that keeps certain information confidential, discussing that material without it being properly released. They said, wait, because we have indisputable evidence that he lied multiple times. So this is interesting because it's such a soap opera. This year, if you recall, I don't think that Congress was trying to make this a sideshow, but the substance of it already is a sideshow.
Yes, it's sideshowy. Yeah.
So all the stuff that you knew about Hunter Biden and the drugs and the hookers and all the stuff naturally is going to make this into a Jerry Springer episode.
But that's not the substance of the issues here.
It's really not. And and even my timeline gets a little bit murky because it was this year, so we're only in May, that this stuff was happening in Congress with Hunter Biden.
Right.
Where he did a deposition, but where I can't remember is, did he crash his own hearing?
Well, he refused to show up for a hearing.
Right.
So they were arguing about whether or not he was going to have a hearing, and
that's right. He gave a deposition behind closed doors.
No, but he wanted one in public.
Yes.
That was his whole thing. I want a public hearing.
Yes.
I want all of this. And the GOP was like, yes, but we also want a closed doors one so that we can get into the stuff that can't be issued to the public. And he's like, no, because if you do that, then you'll just mess up the transcripts.
Right.
So what they ended up agreeing to was a public and a private hearing.
And so when this was happening, you had some audio that we had, because this was happening in real time. So the congressional leaders that were supposed to be asking questions of him or giving statements.
Yeah, but that was before they even had these agreements.
Right. They were speaking, but then he shows up, and so we had things like this popping up.
Let me be clear. This should not be a partisan issue. If Congress issues a subpoena, you show up, period. This is not a responsibility we take lightly. It brings no joy for us to do this, but the president's son broke the law and must be held accountable in the same way anybody else would. I urge my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to do so. And my last message to you, Hunter Biden, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
That's Nancy Mace. You remember that?
Yes.
So we had a lot of this stuff because it was very dramatic, and it was so... The names associated just make you go, of course that's who gets the clip pulled. Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Excuse me, Hunter. Apparently you're afraid of my words.
Whoa! Oh!
I'd like to reclaim my time, Mr. Chairman. I think it's clear and obvious for everyone watching this hearing today that Hunter Biden is terrified of strong conservative Republican women because he can't even face my words as I was about to speak to him. What a coward.
Political theater. It really was. It was intended to be political theater, too, on Hunter Biden's part. Not necessarily on Congress's part, although I think Marjorie Taylor Greene is fine with that. But on Hunter's part, he was trying to make this into theater because he's trying to make a documentary. We're still months away now, or months past this, and I haven't heard a thing about this documentary. I don't know whether we're ever going to see it or whether it backfired and whoever was behind it said, oh, yeah, that didn't go as well as we thought it was. But this was when he walked into Congress unannounced. And I remember listening to Kilmeade that morning, and it was happening live. And he was like, what's it? What? He's on the air going, what happens? And somebody off air, probably Allison, is telling him, Hunter Biden just walked into Congress and is giving a lecture. And then he goes outside and stands at the podium and gives another speech. And so through the deposition, apparently the one that he gave, I'm assuming here, the one that he gave behind closed doors, the House Ways and Means Committee is saying they now have indisputable proof that during that deposition, he lied. What happens now? I don't know. but I can tell you it's going to be in the news more.
Well, yeah, I think what ends up happening now, if I had to guess, they issue contempt of Congress. You know, they give it over to the DOJ, and it goes away.
I can't argue with that.
No, I mean, let's not play games here. Let's be honest about what the Biden administration, the Biden DOJ does. And it's exactly the same thing that all these liberals were complaining about Trump's DOJ and Bill Barr. Something comes across his desk. He's like, this is harmful to Biden. I'm killing it. I mean, if you want to talk about the Her testimony, declare, what they call it, executive privilege on it. You can't. We released the transcripts, but you don't get the audio recording because they know that will be damaging. If you actually hear Biden struggling through this, it's going to be damaging. It's going to blow holes in the side of his speech that he gave after that. They called him a well-meaning, forgetful elderly man or whatever it was.
Right.
The Biden DOJ kills things that are investigating Biden.
Yes, they absolutely do. There have been whistleblowers from
Yes.
multiple agencies, not just one. Multiple agencies come forward and say, I'm not the highest level here, but I am high enough that I do know that this is happening.
Right.
And they've said this before Congress. And some of these people are not Republicans. Some of them probably are. But multiple people have come forward and said, I was a Biden voter, and I'm saying this.
Yeah.
So we know that that's happening. The stuff that you're saying is true. The big question, of course, if this is getting ready to re-enter the political stratosphere, and we're going to be talking about it again, because if it's here, this is going to be a lead story because it's always so salacious with Hunter Biden.
But again, it's going to go away. It'll just go into the DOJ and go away.
My question is not necessarily legal. It's more about the election. Does this have any impact,
No,
Brad?
it doesn't. It won't last. The bluster from it, the hubbub, all of that other stuff, it won't last long enough to make it into the election. The news cycle moves too quickly for that to matter. What they need is an ongoing investigation, ongoing court cases and stuff like that. And to get them into court, you need the DOJ to press charges, and the DOJ won't.
I would almost argue the same thing. Here's a weird comparison. Hunter Biden and Donald Trump. The same thing as far as the consciousness of the nation is happening here, where you know that at least the claim, because there's a lot of disputed facts and NDAs and things going on with the Stormy Daniels thing. You know the claim is that the former president of the United States, had an affair with a porn star. The country, I think, looks at these things and goes, yuck, or weird, gross reality TV, so weird and so out there that it almost doesn't seem real and doesn't affect me because it's like scripted drama. It's almost unreal. I think the same thing happens here with Hunter Biden. It's the Republicans and in Congress have rightfully looked into this. I don't think that they should not have. But the way that it enters American consciousness is through kind of that reality TV lens, where it doesn't really affect the political outcomes. You look at Joe Biden and you go, oh boy, yeah, he's got a son who's super messed up. And that's about as far as it goes. It kind of keeps being brought back up, just like they're trying to do with Trump in that case. But I don't think it really moves the needle politically for the nation. If you're voting on policy, this has no bearing on you. You're not going to go, well, doggone it, Joe Biden's DOJ really is protecting his people. If you're voting on policy, you're already voting either for him or against him. But if you're one of those kind of middle voters, and there's a lot of these people, they don't listen to a station like this. They don't listen to news. They don't pay attention to news in the same way that you are if you're paying attention right now. So they don't have the substance to really have the discussion. But they will say to a friend, man, Biden's son is way into crack. You know, like that stuff does happen. So it crosses into the public consciousness. I don't think it changes votes at all.
No, it doesn't. It won't move the needle at all.
And since we're talking about a little bit more pop culture here, I pulled this up a couple weeks ago. You might remember the name Afro Man. He had, as far as I'm concerned, now somebody will fact check me and be like, no. He had multiple hits. He had one hit. It was called Because I Got High. Afro Man apparently has had some trouble with the law since then. I don't know all the details, but he has a beef with Hunter Biden getting away with all of this. And Brad very nicely cut this audio from a song he released that is Afro Man parodying Afro Man.
Yeah.
And instead of Because I Got High, it's Hunter Got High.
He was gonna get his laptop fixed, but Hunter got high. He wasn't gonna show all them pics, but Hunter got high. He should have let Hillary bleach his whole hard drive. Yeah, Hunter got high. Hunter got high. Hunter got high.
Okay, so there's your clip. You know, I felt obligated since we're talking about pop culture that we had to play that. I don't know that it's going to top the charts, but it does exist. And the most interesting part, we were talking about this off air right before we came back in here for the 2 o'clock hour, is that Afro Man could have easily made a very funny parody about Hunter getting high in the pop culture sense.
Yes.
He actually starts talking there about other political issues and taking shots at Hillary Clinton for bleaching the hard drive. That goes a little beyond just sort of the surface level criticisms, right?
Yeah, when you listen to the whole song, he is, let's just say he's up on the issues.
It's very, very, very interesting, especially in light of America having this national conversation about black voters this year and the shift that's happening that is a little surprising, I think, to everybody, especially among black male voters, that they're reconsidering whether they're going to vote for Biden or Trump. And I almost hate talking about people as voting blocks, but ultimately, like, older women tend to vote a certain way. Younger men tend to vote a certain way. College-educated people. So, you know, that's just the way they do polling.
Trends.
They're trends. So nobody's a monolith, but it's just interesting that that is something that has been a really, really different polling trend this year as I've watched things. And, of course, I love watching polls. And just to let you know, some of the latest polls that came out, I think today, from Bloomberg and Morning Consult, every single swing state is trending still toward Trump, except for Michigan. And if you talk about trends, Nevada has actually moved a little bit leftward. Some of those polls, though, they're like Trump up by 12 and stuff in Nevada. You're like, well...
Yeah.
So, you know, that one just being back to kind of a middle poll is probably not unexpected there. But Michigan is one to keep an eye on there because that one does look like it's moved a couple points toward the blue side. So we'll keep an eye on it. It's always Trump versus Biden, and then they do other polls that are Trump versus Biden versus Kennedy versus West versus Stein. And the trend is that those other voters, those other candidates, do benefit Trump. I just can't figure out whether Kennedy is the one doing it or Cornel West and Jill Stein are the ones doing it.
It's all three of them. And the question is to what extent are they doing it? You know, Kennedy grabs the largest chunk of votes of those three, but Kennedy grabs from both sides. So is he moving the needle more or less because
to
of
which
that?
side? Yeah.
And I think he helps Trump.
Real quick, do you think he should be in the debates?
These?
Yeah. RFK.
No.
I can't decide. I wouldn't mind seeing him up there.
If this were the debate commission on debates or whatever, then absolutely 100% he should be in there. But this is Donald Trump agreeing to debate Joe Biden.
Yeah, it's
on
a separate
CNN,
thing.
in the same way that DeSantis debated Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, it's like their own debate. It was like a mano-a-mano. We're not going to do the whole
This is in
commission
effect
thing.
a presidential debate.
Yeah, and I think that was their way of going. Well, see, the thing is, Joe Biden set these terms. The Democrats set these terms. Trump just agreed to it.
Yeah.
So I don't think there was a whole lot of discussion ahead of time, like, how do we crowd out RFK?
Yeah.
But this was a move, it looks to me anyway, like it was a move by the Democrat side to eliminate RFK from the conversation.
They absolutely want him out of that conversation. They don't want him on the stage with Joe Biden.
And to be fair, Trump has come out hard against RFK too. But he has to. Both of them do, because they don't want him siphoning votes from either side.
Believe it or not, he's both of their opponent.
Exactly. So I actually would not mind seeing him on stage, but it's not going to happen. So there it is, Trump versus Biden versus Kennedy versus West versus Stein. Will they actually be on all of the ballots, because last I checked, Kennedy is only on 2 state ballots, Utah and Michigan. Michigan could be a big deal, but I don't think he's going to have much of a say in Utah. And if he's not on more states than that, he's not going to be a big factor. So
yeah, he's not going to be realistic.
We'll see. It is 2:23. At the end of last hour, I teased that I would talk to you about Brad's wife really inappropriately messaging me on Facebook. Although, again, I'm starting to think that maybe she got hacked and this person who's asking me for money is not Brad's wife. But I'll give you the full update next.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Thomas Helbig and the Retirement Advisory Group, along with Bob and Tammy Kershaw, they know how to help you get through retirement. They know how to get you into retirement. They also know that you've been spending a lot of time, maybe over the course of your whole career, or maybe midway you decided to really lock it down and start saving for retirement, or maybe it's only been recently that you've been able to really focus on making the idea of retirement potentially come to reality. You do need to make some shifts. When it's leaving working and going into retirement, there are some very, very smart moves that you need to make so that you can do so in a way that gives you a worry-free retirement. Doesn't that sound nice? The exhale that comes with not having to get up with the alarm clock and put in a 9 to 5 every day or whatever it is for you. You deserve that, but you got to make the smart moves in order to get there. 314-993-9494, 314-993-9494. Make an appointment today. It doesn't cost you anything to have the conversation. No obligation once you do. 314-993-9494. Find them online at retirementkey.com.
Baseball season is heating up. With the free Odyssey app, you can get the most entertaining local coverage of your team while you're at work or on the go. Stay locked in the know with your favorite hosts as they bring you unfiltered takes, react to the latest team news, and talk to callers. Don't miss any of the action. Stream the shows you love live or on demand with the Odyssey app. That's AUDACY. Download it today for free.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
What's keeping you from learning the language you've always wanted to speak?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make learning fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. And in 10 minutes a day, Babbel's bite-sized lessons are designed to get you having real conversations in as little as 3 weeks.
That's not long.
It's not hard.
It's perfect.
It starts here. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Mark Cox here. Did you know that over half the appointments Window World will set this year are either previous customers or referrals from those customers? That tells you all you need to know about Window World. One thing that separates this company from the pack is that commitment to customer service and their excellent track record with both the Better Business Bureau and other reporting agencies. I am a satisfied customer. I love their lifetime warranty. And in just over 20 years of business, they've helped over 72,000 customers in St. Louis improve the look and the thermal efficiency of their homes. Right now, Window World is offering 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. That is a great deal. Call them right now. Get a free home estimate, 314-993-1800. They'll show you why they are simply the best for less. That's 314-993-1800, 993-1800, or go online to windowworld.com. Guys, you know summer is just around the corner. Get yourself in shape now. Let my friends at Victory Men's Health help you. Mark Cox here. You know Victory is offering semaglutide, approved by the FDA for overweight adults. It's a game changer. On average, people are losing up to 15% of their body weight. Be sure and visit my friends at Victory Men's Health in Wing Haven, their newest location in Sunset Hills. They're also in Town and Country and in O'Fallon, Illinois. Go online today. Tell them you heard Mark Cox talking about it. VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Get in your comfort zone with double Carrier Cool Cash rebates up to $4,200 and 0% financing up to 72 months on a new HVAC system. For details and a free estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
I listen to 97.1 on the Odyssey app.
Download it. It's easy.
Yeah, it's super easy.
To listen to 97.1 FM Talk, no matter where you are. Your home for conservative talk. 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFryShow.
Yeah, I got a machine heads better than the rest. This is Ryan Wiggins filling in for Annie Fry today. Emphasis on the ma. I've always been curious about that. Why did Gavin Rossdale choose to instead of saying machine, he said machine? Well, that leads into that's
No, it doesn't.
That's a really good segue. That leads into a little AI or a scam. I'm not sure though. Somebody on Facebook messaged me under the name Terry Range and has Brad's wife's profile picture and everything. And so I thought when I got this, I thought I was already friends with you. So I was a little suspicious, but I went ahead and talked to her anyway.
Quote unquote.
Quote unquote her. And I gave just the beginning of that conversation. I think it was a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
And right when the show ended, that was like 2 Fridays ago. I mean, literally the show ends.
Yeah, he was walking out the door behind me here, and he's like, oh, they responded.
And I saw the 3 dots come up, and it was almost like the person's listening.
Yeah.
But there's no way they're even in the
It's
United
possible.
States. I mean, this person's definitely scamming from somewhere else. I shouldn't say definitely. I talked to her like it was Terry, just to be sure, because I didn't want to offend Terry if it was her. But she asked me, and this is the stuff I shared last time, and I'll get you up to date here. She said, I'm glad to hear from you. I'm doing good. I've tried to reach you, but couldn't get through you. Have you been contacted by DHHS?
So I would like to point out that my wife is a teacher.
Okay.
And
so I was naturally skeptical.
Yeah, she's got better grammar than that.
Yeah. And I said, yes, they contacted me, but I didn't mention you. I was real dodgy about everything. That was the plan. Because I was trying to see, I'm testing. Like, if this is really Terry, she's going to know, well, we didn't have a plan. So, you got to put you got to put a couple hooks in the water. Brad, this is how you do it. Then she says, I mean Department of Health and Human Services. They're helping both workers, retirement, teachers, disabled, and widows. They are chosen through email or social media. And I got 150. Again, the commas are in the wrong places here, which is interesting because your wife is a math teacher. So I was like, oh, that seems like a sign, too, that this might be fake. $15 million, but based on where the commas are going, I think they meant to say $150 million. That this person got $150 million from the DHHS.
Listen, if my wife got $150 million and she didn't tell me.
And see, that's another thing. I was like, see, I think that Brad would have mentioned if they had inherited $150 million.
There would have been signs.
But he didn't mention it. So I'm like, starting to get suspicious. She says, I got that from them too. I was told by a friend and she let me know how to contact them. Did you know how to contact them? And I'm like, well, either this is a scam or Terry is being super nice. That you guys got $150 million. You're like, look, there's $150 million for everybody.
And the first person we thought of
was me.
Was Ryan.
Yeah, and not in person, just on Facebook. And I said, no, but I am interested since you're a person I trust. So that's right where it ended last Friday. That's as far as we had gotten. The minute we walk out of the studio, this person, Terry, sends me this picture of FBI Director Christopher Wray. And it says that she updated her profile picture and with a link. And I said, Terry, what is going on? It says you changed your profile picture to FBI Director Christopher Wray. Why? Are you in trouble? Do you need anything? Blink 3 times, then 4 times, then 1 time. I will know. Then Terry says, you should click on the link and drop comment on comment section. And I said, Terry, how does that help you? I need your bank account number, please. And she says, do you want to send money to me? And I said, I need your account info to do so. So she says, no, you can just use the money to get an Apple gift card for me. And I will send it. I will need it to make some payment on the app here now. Use the money to get the Apple gift card. And I said, is an iTunes gift card okay? So she says, yes, use the money to get the card for me so I can make payment on my app. And I said, if I send you the iTunes gift card, please download the song Counting Stars by One Republic. It's such a good song. And I need you to hear it, Terry. Please tell me what you think. And she says, so get the Apple gift card now so I can make the payment and get it. And I said, good heavens. What am I thinking, Terry? You can just listen to it here. And I sent her a link to the YouTube video for One Republic's Counting Stars. Just a beautiful song. She says, oh, okay, you should still get me the card so I can make payment on app here now. And I'm like, Terry, the song's right there. What payment are you needing? Is there a different song? I can probably find it for you. YouTube has almost everything. She continues to just ask for me to leave comment in comment section under FBI Director Christopher Wray. Not sure why. And so this is over days. I mean, I'm talking to this person for like days and days and weeks now.
Are you like sitting on edge, like waiting for the messenger thing?
I kind of am. And the problem is,
here we go.
The problem is, Brad, I was doing this for so long because I'm like, I'm just going to drag this out for as long as I can because there's something very sadistic that I'm like, I know I'm not really fixing any of society's ills here, but I'm at least wasting their time. And getting their hopes up that something's going to happen from me, because I would have to be the biggest idiot in the world to be like, sure, I'll just send you whatever you want. You just told me that you have $150 million, and yet you're wanting me to send you an iTunes gift card. So
like, why don't you use the iTunes? Why don't you use some of that?
Why don't you use that? It's a good question. I didn't even think to ask that.
You copied and pasted it with the wrong.
Right, right. So I'll be at like a kid's soccer game or my son's baseball game or something, and a message will come through, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to pay attention to the game for a second. I want to pay attention to these messages from fake Terry Range. But I don't. I try to discipline myself. So I said, like, I put it away for a day or two. I came back to it. I said, sorry, it's been a day. My quote unquote uncle fell into a quote unquote cauldron of food. He's out now. At this point, I'm like, I'm just going to push this and see if the person goes away, because you got to just keep going. He's out now of the cauldron, but we had to throw out so many root vegetables. Remind me of what I'm paying you for. So fake Terry Range says, I want you just to click on the link. Again, like sticking to the message. She's a politician, doing a good job. I said, I want to skip all that I'm cutting to the message too here.
Yeah.
I want to skip all that to pay you directly, Terry. Is that okay? No more nonsense. Just me and you and some bags of cash. And the person says, if you insist on give me money, how much do you want to give me? And I said, 2 bags. I just need to know what it's for. She says, I can use it to pay some bills and get some other stuff and also invest if there's enough to invest. And I'm like, okay, come on over and get the cash bags. I'll leave them on my porch marked for Terry. So this is where I'm like, it's got to be over. And it is. So she says, I'm busy and won't be able to come over, okay? Can you just cash mail me too?
Cash mail.
I said, I'll pull them back inside until things calm down for you. They're getting all wet out there anyway. And that was the end. And then Facebook intervened. And so I don't know how, because I didn't report this person.
Right.
I was just going to keep it going. Facebook intervened and said, hey, we think you might be getting scammed here. And Brad, that's when I knew. This isn't really Brad's wife, Terry.
Good looking out, Facebook.
Yeah, thank you very much for after a week and a half that I could have sent this person who knows how much money. Facebook finally caught up to it and saved me a whole bunch of trouble. So
yeah, this is wild. Like the audacity that people have just to try to scam somebody out of their money.
That's the amazing thing to me.
You never did click on that link, did you?
No.
And that's my question. It's like they really were focused on getting you to click on that link. What is it on that link that they're going to get out of you? Are they going to be able to hack into your account then?
I don't know.
That sort of things. I mean, I guess this is a great public service announcement. Yeah, Ryan had a lot of fun and games with these people, but don't ever click the links that they send you or stuff like that.
Don't ever do
because
that.
you never know what sort of malicious software and stuff like that there is on the other end of it.
What always surprises me about these scammers, and I think I've told this story on the air before, that back in 2021-ish, I was going to go to Disney World with my son.
Yeah.
Because we were going to be in Florida for a soccer tournament anyway.
Yeah.
And so, you remember. So I tried to buy tickets from a third-party website that ended up being fake. And I thought, oh, this is a great price. Well, duh, it's a great price because it was not a real price. But I went through enough checks and balances with the person that they did buy me a real ticket, but they just didn't buy me two for me and my son.
Yeah.
So they were able, they showed me enough receipts that I was able to see like, oh, you're actually going through with this. So they ended up scamming me basically out of one Disney World ticket. And it was the kids' ticket, so it was the cheaper of the two, which ended up like it was $95 or $100 or something like that at the time. And I thought the amount of detail, because I had to allow this person access to my Disney World app, which is self-sufficient. Like you can't get into other things from the app. So I didn't really feel weird about that.
Right.
I mean, unless there's a back door that I don't know about, but I didn't get the sense this person was a hacker. They were just scamming me out of money. And so I did that and allowed them to do that so that they could give me real tickets, which I did get. But then I overpaid for a kid's ticket that I didn't have, okay?
Yeah.
But the amount of detail and the hours spent and the conversations, because I'm asking a lot of questions.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get scammed. Lo and behold, the amount of time and energy that you would have to spend to make ultimately what was $100, I'm like, dude, do you realize you could go get a fast food job in California and make that in like 4 hours right now?
Yeah.
Like the amazing like will people have to go around the system and steal from you, that if you put it toward anything positive, you would have been better off and you wouldn't ever have to be worrying, sleeping with one eye open or anything like that.
Yeah, but some of these guys they're getting bigger chunks of cash than what you could earn in
I guess that's true.
But again, I think you make a great point there. Is like you've been gifted. I mean, maybe not this person that was posing as my wife, but you've been gifted a skill set that allows you to do a certain thing.
Yeah.
And if you could take that and use it for good, you could monetize it and make a lot of money and still not, like you said, not be worried about whatever.
There are hackers who are probably making gobs and gobs of money by hacking into companies and holding their stuff ransom and being like, hey, you're going to pay me $3-4 million and then I'll release your stuff. If you don't, I'll delete everything you've ever had at your company. Like that's a major scam. I can see why somebody would go, I don't endorse it. I can see why somebody would go through the time of doing it. Somebody who's scamming you on Facebook for probably getting access to your Apple wallet. I'm like, dude, the amount of money you could make with the skills that you have is incredible. So I guess if you want to take anything from this, a cautionary tale, never to trust Brad's wife.
Gosh, Ryan.
So we'll take a quick break. Of course, I'm kidding. I have to say that because Terry is a wonderful person. And I don't think she would ever ask me for bags of cash, but if she did, I would do it, Brad. I would do it. Those bags might not have a whole lot in them. They maybe just be pennies, but I would do it.
What if I asked you?
I would say the same is true. I'd still do it. I just don't know.
Let me get 2 bags.
2 bags. just tell me 2 bags. I'll decide the denomination. It's 2:42. We're watching these storms. It looks like if you're downtown or west, you're probably through them. If you're east of downtown, you're probably experiencing them right now. But that's about it on the radar. Not much more coming through, so I think we're safe. Like I said, 2:42. One more segment here of the Annie Fry Show. Stick around.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money. so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/free. Ramp.com/free. RAMP.com/free.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Nos vamos a divertir mucho.
And that means we're going to have a lot of fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
No pain, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
If you're planning a graduation party, let Grill Master Tony do the cooking. Mark Cox here can make his delicious brisket, his pulled pork or pulled chicken with all the sides. They'll make 10 people as important as 100. Plus, he does corporate lunches. Let Tony bring the grill to you. Hot dogs, hamburgers, chips, cookies, or you can customize it with their delicious brisket and delicious sides. Visit them and order today online at grillmastertony.com.
Today's YouTube live chat poll, are neckties still necessary? Yes or no? We want to know what you guys think. Has the necktie run its course? Jump on Annie's YouTube page, vote in the poll there, leave a comment, tell us why you voted the way you voted, and we might feature your comments later on in the show. The time is 2:46. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
We're here to help you get registered to vote, whether you're in Missouri or Illinois. Democracy 2024 on 97.1 FM Talk. If you need help getting registered, go to 971talk.com/vote. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. And since then, he hadn't shown up for debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice. So let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays.
Man, I can't wait for this debate. I really,
Make
really
my
can't.
day, pal.
It's just going to be must-see TV. We're planning some things, so we haven't announced anything yet, but as a station, whether you listen to Mark Cox or you listen to Annie Fry Show or Mark Reardon, keep it tuned in for how you can participate in what is going to be a really fun night. We're going to make it fun. My assumption is the content itself will also be something that you just don't want to miss. Will America tune into this? I think the answer is yes. I think this really is a must-see TV event. In late June, those don't usually happen. If you know about sweeps months, June is not one of them. June is usually not where you put big TV events.
Is it because people aren't really watching in June?
It is.
Huh.
And guess
It's
who set
almost
those
like
dates?
they strategically picked those dates.
It is almost as if the Biden White House picked those dates on purpose.
Maybe nobody will watch.
That was, at the beginning of the segment there, Joe Biden's heavily edited challenge to Donald Trump. It really was amazing. It was like every sentence, there was a jump cut at the end that he couldn't get through the whole thing. Here is what Trump said that day, which I think is equally funny.
Oh, absolutely. I've been trying to get, he's issuing it. I wonder whether or not he shows up because, he also challenged me to golf. So I'm a very good golfer. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He said, I'll give him 3 aside. But he knows he'll never play. This is sort of like that, I think. But I hope not because I really think he has to debate. He might as well get it over with. Probably should do it early so that he can, he's not going to get any better.
He's not going to get any better. That was very eloquently put, Mr. Former President. He's not going to get any better, so the earlier the better for him. Since then, I think this is a very underreported story, and this wasn't breaking this week. I think it was the end of last week. Former President Donald Trump, who accepted a proposal for 2 debates against President Joe Biden last week, is now demanding that his predecessor be drug tested before they take the stage. You see this, Brad? The remarks from Trump came while he was speaking at a Minnesota Republicans Party's Lincoln Reagan dinner last Friday. Quote, I'm going to demand a drug test too, by the way, Trump said. I am. No, really, I am. I don't want him coming in like the State of the Union. He was high as a kite.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just funny because we can say it when we're at a bar or whatever. The president typically doesn't say that stuff, but Donald Trump does say that stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody knows something was up. That was a different Joe Biden than the one you see stumbling through a campaign speech in Wisconsin, saying who knows what. So it really
he was
is gonna
yelling who knows what.
Yes. And I said it yesterday, I think when Annie was here, probably right around now, that Joe Biden giving a speech by teleprompter is one thing. Joe Biden went off script about once or twice at all during the State of the Union. And we keep comparing everything to that because that's the longest speech we have from him. He usually doesn't speak that long. But that one was nationally televised. We all saw it. And when he went off script, it was a disaster. That's when he did the Lincoln Riley stuff, mispronouncing Lincoln Riley, seemed to not really have a really good grasp of that issue. Maybe a little bit, but definitely was his biggest gaffe of the night was when he went off script. So what's it going to be like when the guy goes off script for 2 hours? The answer is probably he will have a lot of scripted material, but can he remember everything? They don't get teleprompters at these things. So
he'll have notes.
Yeah, but he can't sit there and read them. He may have bullet points. He may have bullet points.
You say
You know what Trump has said before, too, is that they need to have their ears tested to make sure they don't have any earpieces in.
Yeah.
He has said that before, too. And I don't think those are bad ideas.
Listen, I wouldn't think that Joe Biden testing positive for anything on the drug test would be like a deal breaker. I just want to know what it is.
Here.
What do they got him all hyped up on? Are your vitamin B levels like through the roof? Are they giving you Ritalin? What are they giving you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to know. I think everybody would like to know that. A little bit different story before we get to the end of the show here. A CSI expert says that murder in outer space is inevitable. So he's really concerned, the CSI expert is really concerned that someday, not now, but at some point, there's going to be space murder. And we need to be studying it now. So this guy is a CSI expert in Roswell, Georgia. I guess he's in a police department or some sort of law enforcement there.
Dude, there's going to be murder wherever there are people present.
Yeah.
Like, the very first murder recorded in the Bible was the 2 sons of Adam and Eve.
Yeah, it was right away.
Yeah. There was 4 people.
It didn't last long before
One
we
of
had
them
murder. So you know what? In that sense, he's right. It says where humanity goes, so too will human behavior. So, but here's where you got to part from him a little bit. He says, so being able to understand how best to reconstruct those criminal acts is really important in space. So I think we might be getting ahead of ourselves a little bit with this one.
Like, he sounds anxious to be able to investigate one of these things. He's like, ooh, but like if there's blood spatter, it's just going to float in little globules and we won't be able to see where it lands.
Look, maybe he's just trying to get a trip to space.
And
he's like, look, if you can fund this, I wouldn't mind going into outer space.
How was this a tweet that he put this out on? Because, like, did he at Elon Musk?
That's a good question. I'm reading it from the New York Post, so I don't know exactly where this information came from, but it's a real enough problem and a real enough story that they had to put one of their best writers on it. You know how I know that's one of their best writers? Because the first sentence is, it's a serious problem.
Oh.
And the word serious is spelled S-I-R-I-U-S.
Oh,
yeah.
I see what they did there. Yes,
Bravo,
slow
New
clap.
York Post. Excellent job. Let's get to the Annie Fry YouTube live chat poll of the day. We haven't talked about it a whole lot. And this being a Manny Fry show with Annie being gone just for today, she'll be back tomorrow. We decided to go very man with this. Now, it doesn't mean that women can't weigh in on this. Or for that matter, I guess women can wear neckties. I don't really see it outside of music videos. But the question is, are neckties still necessary? Yes or no? We haven't discussed it. Brad, what do you think?
I think they are. I think that, and I told you I've been going back and forth on this, but I think that they are. I think this is the formal fashion of the time. Really, to be honest with you, if you can get a good necktie, figure out how to tie it the way, there's several different knots that you can tie. If you can find a knot that works for your style, and you put it together with a nice suit, you can take even the slobbery man like myself and make them look decent. So I think, yes, neckties.
You can
necessary.
be slovenly and not actually be slobbering on yourself.
Yeah.
Though. Just for the record.
Yeah, but I just wanted to up the game.
Okay, thanks. I'm going to say no to this question. As much as I like when people are not dressing down all the time, I think you can dress up, wear a nice coat, nice shirt. In fact, I think that this is my preferred way to dress up is without a tie. I'm a no on
like
this
a blade
question.
collar or?
I have no idea what you just said.
Okay.
I can't even tie a tie. That's how rudimentary I am.
A blade collar is a real low collar. And it doesn't fold over.
That sounds great. No clue what I look like in that, nor if I've worn one. So let's hear the results of the poll, Brad. If you have them.
With 172 votes in, with 44%, the vote is no, it's not necessary. And then with 56% of the vote, yes.
Hey, that was a lot closer than I thought. I'm glad to hear that because I thought I would be on the losing side, which I was, but at least it was close. Thanks for tuning in to the Annie Fry Show today. Annie, again, will be back tomorrow, and we all, the whole show, will be at the GOP Illinois Convention in Madison County at the Gateway Center on Friday. So please come out and see us. We'd love to see you. We'll be doing the show live there. We will have a normal show tomorrow for you right here in studio when Annie comes back. We'll see you then.
Are you ready to smell better naked? I'm Dr. Shannon Klingman, the OBGYN creator of Lumi, the whole body deodorant that's clinically proven to control odor for 72 hours on pits, feet, privates, and beyond. It's pH optimized to safely and effectively